Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados live right here on Thinking Critical. It is your Saturday morning spectacular. Got a fun lineup here. No special guests, but we do have Carrie from Nerdy Girl Creates. First time, long time. How you doing, Carrie?
I'm doing much better. Thank you very much. I want to give a shout out to everyone. Thank you for all the support with Mom. Really appreciate that a lot. And hopefully this week I will have some videos back up again.
Very nice. So you're filling in for Kari Andrews and Kevin Grievous. Pretty big shoes.
Oh, wow. Nice. I will try my best to live up to that.
So have you been having time to read the manga, or you just have not had time to make the videos?
I just haven't had time to make the videos with Mom's situation. But I have been reading manga, and I have some recommendations. So I will.
Very nice. So you're reading Superman versus Meatballs?
No.
Oh.
I did read the Spider-Man one, though.
Oh, I thought everyone was in on Superman versus Meatballs, Jim.
I thought so, too. I thought it was, sweeping the nation. I guess it isn't. I'll try to get it, too, though.
All right, Carrie. Well, what you been up to? You've been having things going on with Mom. She's been having some medical issues, and you've been basically her caretaker.
Yes, I have been. But in between that, like I said, I have been reading some manga, but it's been mostly taking care of Mom. So.
And she's doing better because we're all praying for her here.
She is. She did have a bit of a fall yesterday, but everything's fine. She is enjoying right now watching anime with my family member. So.
What kind of anime? What's she watching?
Black Butler.
Oh, Black Butler. I would have put something a little more risque on.
She's gone through the whole Hulu list, so I'm sure she might have been something. Might have been the one moment I walked by and saw a look of disgust, but
you never know when it comes to that. Oh man! So Eric,
yes,
who was at the door? Was it what is it?
One of my flatmates. I got two flatmates. It keeps the overhead down. Wicked low bills.
I thought it was Ed Norton, checking on Tyler Durden personality. He doesn't really have a name, but I assume it's Jack because he's Jack's Raging Fury or whatever.
I think it's Tyler the entire time. I think it's
no, Tyler is the other personality, and I think Jack is the normal guy.
He's just the narrator.
Yeah, but remember he's reading the books that he wrote that he described himself, and I'm Jack's Raging Fury or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's still just the narrator.
Yeah, but I believe he identifies his name at that point.
He doesn't have a name in the first one. Yeah.
Well, what's his name in the sequel?
Oh gosh, I have to look this up. You're gonna make me do that?
Never mind.
Please don't. It was such a terrible Francis.
So you were trying to sell me on Fight Club, the sequel on Dark Horse Comics, but you were really trying to rib me.
Yes, it was just leading you into the top turnbuckle so I could take you out with the atomic elbow here on Saturday morning.
So you have a very, very movie accurate costume there, and I will commend you on a job well done. What other costumes do you have? What else do you do when you play dress up?
When I go lopping in the park with all the other loppers. No, I get some cosplay. I occasionally cosplay. I have a full on Burt Ward Robin cosplay that I made up. It's pretty cool because it's got primary colors and, like those green athletic shorts that are pretty short. So, you have to be brave and show off some legs.
JoJo Whites?
Dude, totally.
Where you can see the fold of your butt crack?
And I got a full on...
Not your butt crack, but your butt cheek to your thigh?
You probably leaves very little to the imagination. And I got a full on Captain America cosplay. That's really cool. But it's very hot because it's a leather jacket, and if you're going to cosplay, you got to be like light and mobile and comfortable. And those are hard lessons learned at Comic Cons. Yeah.
So you've got some decent facial hair. It feels like you could probably do like a Magnum TI mustache. Have you thought about it?
If I grew up, when I grow up and it all fills in and my balls drop, I can, grow some real facial hair.
Man, so you're a LARPer and a cosplayer.
No, just a cosplayer. Okay,
Oh.
I got a Bruce Lee jumpsuit, dude. Yeah.
Dude, that's cultural appropriation, right? You're not supposed to do that anymore.
I don't believe in that. I'm from the 20th century where men could wear a kimono if we wanted to.
Well, that's probably okay nowadays. My goodness, Eric. So what's going on with the channel? You still pushing food and comic books?
Yes, I do a 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily comic book talk. We call it the Comics Coffee Table, where I take some freshly brewed coffee, just like this, and we pour a cuppa and we hang out
French
together.
press?
Yeah, man. And some
God.
delicious, freshly brewed coffee on a Saturday morning here. But I do it every day, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. We rebag, reboard, and rebox my entire collection. So we're looking at
How many times have you done this?
I've done this for like 600 episodes. Yeah, over 2 years.
No, but you said you're rebagging, reboarding your entire collection. How many times have you gone through it?
Well, I'm just it's taking a while because there's like 8 long boxes, but I take my time. We look at old comic books.
Oh.
We look at the ads, we look at the art, and we revel in these old stories. There's so much outrage out there. We do something positive.
Man.
Cheers.
I've worked with people that use French presses in my life, and Doc might have experienced this too because I think he's an office worker. But I've never actually worked with one, Doc, that wasn't an asshole.
Correct.
Exactly. It's like a rule. Maybe I've got Eric O'Sullivan all wrong.
You can pretend you ain't got one on the bottom.
Well,
of
yeah,
you,
you're a
too.
cosplayer. You're obviously an actor. Maybe you have a persona for the channel, but you get in the office and you're a brown noser and you're trying to get me to work weekends and shit.
Do you watch out? Did you get the TPS reports for that memo and the cover and the red stapler?
It is the 21st century. If you were still using a French press, you were just a pretentious douche.
Pretentious.
That's kind of my thing here. I didn't want to say it, but you put it so eloquently, Doc.
Voila.
Buy a goddamn Keurig.
Oh, man. Doc, those are terrible for the environment.
There's a Dunkin's down the street, Chief.
My goodness. Who else? We got Drew from Comics Elite. He's also a comic book writer, goes by Dolan. Got projects coming up on Kickstarter. How you doing, Drew?
Doing all right, Wes. Been fighting some tinnitus the past couple days. My ears, that's been
like in
fun.
your ears are ringing?
Yeah.
I should stop yelling. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah,
Do you need to take a time out here?
No, I'm good.
All right. So how's the writing come along? Have you finished any pages?
Yeah. I'll share with you a page here in a minute. I'll send it to you an email and you can share it. But yeah, and I just finished a 40-page project with Marat Michaels that hopefully will be coming out later this year, and some big things coming up this fall and winter. Can't wait.
Well, very nice. You got anything else to say?
Yeah, go to Kickstarter, check out Unholy Nightmare #1, sign up now. We launch on Halloween night. Cannot wait, guys. You will not want to miss this.
And I've seen some pages of this that are inked and colored and all that, and it looks pretty damn good. Let's put it
Thank
that
you.
way.
Yeah.
It does.
Very, very good. We've also got Jim from Weird Science. This week we recorded our first pop culture show for your Patreon.
Yep.
And we also did our Hot or Not segment. With a whole
and
hour talking about the best and worst comic books.
Lost my voice, and since then I feel like crap. I think you got me sick, and I am going to blame you. But as a shout out,
it's your fault because you keep recording individual sessions for every comic book released during the week.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's
we have
dumb.
Our main podcast. I think this week I still have to record one after this, but it's up to 6.5 hours, I believe, because each book one person tends to go on and on. But
yeah, because
thank
that's
God,
their specialty now. I don't have to think about the 4 books I read. I only have to think about.
That's
Wonder
the
Woman.
problem. I mean, when we used to do it, it was me and another guy doing it, and we just did 10 books, and we knew you kind of have to speed things up. But I do have to give a shout out to Eric. I came as cosplay too. You can't see, but it's like back in the day, random bum fights is my cosplay right now.
That shit was
what I
outlawed.
look like. Yeah. But my cosplay is not.
So, Jim, normally during the week, you do something so spectacularly stupid that you almost kill yourself, even though you are a grown man and you have a lifetime of experience to know not to stick your finger in the light socket. What did you do this week?
Actually, it's just over recording, I think, this week. I feel like I'm going to die right now.
You just killed your voice.
Yes, I am having some problems this week. But it's good, though, because next week I already have it planned. I think there's 12 DC books. So, yeah, it's not going to get any better. So I just get used to it.
You're not going to go smarter. You're just going to keep going harder.
I'm going dumber is what it is. But that's how I work.
Oh, man. All right, we do have something. I mean, we need to show. I need to share this with people. Let this share screen. Let's see what we got here. Do you guys see it? You don't see it.
Nope.
It should have been there. Present, share screen. Here's the picture.
They keep changing that.
Oh my goodness! I opened it. Now I've closed
Epic fail.
I feel like Jim or
It's just
something.
gonna really. I know the whole thing would have shut down then, and then fell on top of me somehow.
All right, it's not letting me share the image, so I feel bad about that. But we'll see what we can do later on. Drew.
Okay.
But hey, we got a little channel fail, and that stuff happens, and that's okay. You can't give up. You just keep pushing forward. We've also got Doc. We haven't recorded our Patreon exclusive podcast yet. We'll be doing that one tomorrow. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Looking forward to recording it, actually. Even though I threw
a little bone your way. It's not guaranteed that this comic book is going to be bad.
No, it is not completely guaranteed. And since I haven't read it yet, which I promise I'll do before tomorrow. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Now, do I have
Predator
my doubts?
or Wolverine versus Predator #1.
Yeah, Wolverine versus. And
Eric
now,
O'Sullivan almost jumped out of his chair. I think he liked that book.
I think Eric probably would.
Is he talking about his wiener? He's like,
He is.
Yeah,
Size doesn't matter in Boston.
It's frequency. It's not length. It's frequency.
it still exists as the same frequency as the rest of your body, and it's tiny. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm sort of looking forward to reading this book, but Ben Percy has been, in my opinion, a disaster for about the last 2 years. So yeah, but sure,
the 2 years before,
right.
or the year and a half before that, he was all right.
Yeah, year and a half before that, he was all right. I think he got infected by the same, brain worm that the rest of the X Office did, namely, Jonathan Hickman's leftovers that were left to rot in the fridge. So no, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to have the rest of our discussion for our Patreon talk.
Yeah, we should have some fun. We got some questions lined up. It should be very good. We do have a couple super chats. Let's hear from these guys. Somebody wants to talk to you, Doc. Lane Kramer says, "Woo! Almost here. Doc review of Suffering, Power Girl #1. Get ready, everyone, for Doc reading Leah Williams. We all got our popcorn."
Oh, do I have to read Power Girl #1?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what he wants. He's been looking forward to it.
All
He's probably
right.
got like an advent calendar.
Yeah,
with a picture of you hurling at the end.
probably. All it'll be is 22 pages of Leah Williams making boob jokes.
Likely.
But I mean,
It's not the worst comic in the world in 2023, Doc.
No, that doesn't make it the worst comic. It just makes it boring. Look, you can only Leah Williams has 3 jokes, and they're all about her tits. And I'm really tired of hearing all of them.
Doc, we don't say tits on the channel. We say jugs.
Okay.
Okay.
Fun
Be
bags.
classy.
Fun bags?
Yes.
Mammalian protuberances.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've got other people talking, Doc. Here, we're going to be feeling the pain soon enough on that one. Kenneth Dowling has said, "Hello, good people. Hope all is well. Drew, hope you get better. Eric, looking groovy, baby. Missed you last week, Doc. Nerdy girl, nice to see you. Remember, 8-Man beats Vampire Hunter D. Ha 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 ha. Do you need to school it?
No. Vampire Hunter D.
I go with Vampire Hunter D because I've heard of it. The other one I haven't. So sure.
8-Man is like an 8-ball with legs and arms, Doc. That's why they call him 8-Man.
Definitely Vampire Hunter D wins.
Is it like an 8-ball that like tells you your fortune, like that toy?
That would be ridiculous.
No.
Because that'd be fun. That actually might be interesting.
Gary, what is 8-Man?
Oh God, it's been so long.
He's like a RoboCop character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not better than Vampire Hunter D.
There you go. Yes, he's not an actual 8-ball with legs. He's not like remember when they had that TV show? There's no way Eric O'Sullivan doesn't remember when they had the Rubik's Cube that was a hero.
Yeah, they had Menudo do the music too. It was a wonderful time to be alive.
Absolutely fantastic. The
Was that
Hanna-Barbera Saturday afternoon.
Wait, was that before
Still
or
unbeat.
after? Was that before or after Ricky Martin got like canceled?
I
Well,
believe it was
way
before.
Well,
That was when
This is
me
I
and
was
Eric
like
were
7
part
or
of
8
it.
years old.
We were part of Menudo together.
Me and Eric were in Menudo. We never told anybody
Yeah, it
that.
was our
You were roadies for the band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the 3 other kids got like graduated to become new kids in the block, and we got left out.
Yeah, we got left out. You were even in Boston, and they left you out of that.
Oh, we got a snort. Callum says, the one and only thing I want to happen in Tom King's Wonder Karen is Themyscira is destroyed because I really hate how the Amazons are written now. Well, it's not Themyscira's fault, is it?
no.
That would
Paradise
explain
Island?
why the Themyscirans are living in America if Themyscira isn't there, leaving Paradise Island.
Yeah.
It was a little strange. Well, we'll get to that, but man, I don't know. I want Themyscira to be back, and I want the Amazons to have a place to live and be happy.
Yeah.
But we all know Tom King's not going to allow that.
Yeah.
Mika Fresh says they're called biggins, Doc. There you go. More boob jokes. Comics Aficionados. Now, before we get into this, I do want to give a special shout out to my Patreons. We got some new Patreon patrons this week. Oh my goodness, I got a list. They've all got superhero names and places they're protecting. First up, we need to give a big shout out to Jack Halsey for the second week in a row because he actually upped his patron. He went from the $5 level to an increased level. He's the hero Jackson Forever, protecting independence. Awesome stuff there. Pleb Montaigne, I apologize if I got your name wrong. It's not you. I'm from Missouri, and I can't read anything that isn't strictly easy. He is called the Dreamweaver, and he protects the astral plane. We've also got Sailor J-Man, who's called Jazz Blade and is protecting New Orleans. Wakizashi Gray is called the Gray Savior, and he's protecting feudal Japan. Do you think we'll get in trouble, Jim, if we have a white dude from Great Britain protecting Japan?
Yep. You're canceled now. Over. Though Gray's a nice guy. We'll let it go. And earlier Eric said he could wear a kimono, so there you go.
Wicked, totally.
Brandon Baker, a.k.a. Captain Cyclone, he's protecting the Pacific Ocean. A lot of area there. David Rothbauer, a.k.a. the Constrictor, protecting Pittsburgh. Maybe we get a team up with the Steel City Cynic every once in a while. Everybody wants to protect Pittsburgh. Noah Greenberg, a.k.a. Nature Walker, protecting the Great Falls of Montana. Sheldon Drake, who has the name DC Manga Translator Lad, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Well done, sir. And he is protecting the wonderful city of Fort Worth, Texas. And then finally, Min Phase, a.k.a. Phase Man, protecting the space-time continuum. And I do want to give a special thank you to all my patrons for supporting me on Patreon. And definitely consider it yourself. There is a link to that in the video description. And we've got lots of stuff. We've got over 6 hours of brand new content every single week. Great podcast with Jim for Weird Science. We've also got a podcast with Aaron Sparrow and another podcast that we do exclusively with Doc. And you get unedited Doc videos. All the stuff that I have to cut out to make the video only 14 minutes, i.e. 8 minutes of content, is all left in.
Yes.
So Doc does not stop talking.
No, ever. I don't shut the fuck up.
Ryan Wilson says, people are saying Cap #1 by JMS is woke. I don't see it. I think they're reaching. What do you think? I read the book and I don't see it.
I don't see
Neither
it.
do I.
You saw it?
Look
Yeah.
at him.
Where did you see it?
I thought that like the whole Nazis in America thing on the last page is a bit on the nose for today's climbs.
Yeah, but that really happened.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
There were really Nazi rallies in America.
Yeah.
And they make kick-ass sandwiches. That's what I learned.
That's a historical fact.
Yep, there's
All I
photographs
got
of the one at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
I keep thinking about Blues Brothers, though. I just hate Illinois Nazis.
The Illinois
you know?
Nazis, but the New York ones. Yeah, that's I didn't think it was woke. I just thought it was pointing things out.
The end, I thought maybe the Agents of Chaos had changed time, where maybe the Nazis had won, But I had read it a few more times. I'm like, no, he just accidentally ran into like a pro-Nazi rally in America at the time before we entered the war.
And it was set up in the issue enough where they said that this is when people were kind of like, okay, Hitler's not going to go too far. We'll make some treaties and things. So it did work out that way.
But, you know, I think running into a real-life Nazi rally being something that motivated a young Steve Rogers to go out there and become Captain America makes a lot of sense.
And eventually become a Hydra agent. That's in
well,
disguise.
that part, now we're talking about stuff that doesn't make sense.
and then a figment of your imagination from a cosmic cube. Because that's all Cap is now.
But I don't see it, Ryan. But, you know, obviously everybody has their own opinion. And
Ryan put in the chat that Cap has always fought Nazis, but this is before people really knew everything. So once he finds out, he might punch a guy right in the face there.
Yeah, he might kick someone in the nuts.
Yeah,
and then, you know, but this is also, you got to remember, this is also the Eric O'Sullivan that's kind of like Alligator Loki. Got to remember that stuff.
It was fine. It's cute. It's cutesy.
Get it, Doc, 8-Man is not an 8-ball. Silly West, he's a private detective who was killed and had his soul put into an android. Inspiration from RoboCop. Anime is called 8-Man After. Watch it. It's great.
Wait. So he's a sentient bag of cocaine then?
He takes there is like a vial of like cocaine type thing that he does take. It's pretty damn weird. But I remember seeing it on Saturday Anime on the Sci-Fi Channel.
A cocaine-powered superhero doesn't
it's
make
like
the
Snowflame.
least amount of sense.
Yeah, Snowflame's
give you
out there.
something.
Still not better than Vampire Hunter D.
Nah, that's crazy take. Federico De La Casa, Wes, I think you nailed it with Tom King. I expect some Black Ops to remove us one of these days because we criticize his work. Joking. I love Big Game number 3. You were not the only one that loved Big Game number 3.
He's not gonna
My
like
oh
me.
my. It's going to be so interesting talking about this later. I tried to do it with Jim, and I'm going to try and talk about it again, and obviously with Drew when we talk about Best of the Week. To review a comic book that you can't actually talk about anything specific because every page is a spoiler.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying you tried to do it like I messed you up and I was
No.
an idiot. Thank you.
Like,
Thank you
just
so
can't
much.
Get into it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Plus, it's boring.
But you know, we were.
You mean Big Game?
It doesn't matter if you get into Tom King's Wonder Woman because you can spoil it.
That's the thing. I thought you were actually talking about Tom King's Wonder Woman. The Big Game is not boring. And I told you can't really talk until you actually, full out go. It is going to be tough for you and Drew. So good though. So good.
It is very good, but Wonder Woman not so much.
Yeah.
Kenneth says, Doc, Drew, and Nerdy Girl, want your opinion on a character fight: Mortal Kombat Scorpion versus Classic Deathstroke. I guess you didn't like last week's answer.
Oh boy!
All right, Doc, who you got? Scorpion,
double
Deathstroke.
dipping.
Probably Deathstroke, to be honest. I don't know why. Just a weird gut feeling on this one. I feel like Deathstroke is a more competent fighter, and I mean he's been able to take out people whose powers are more than just being able to throw a spike with.
Well,
like
Scorpion's got more powers than that. He's
a snake thing out of his hand.
He's like a multi-generational ninja or whatever. All right, Drew, who you got? Scorpion, Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, not even close.
Right.
This
is why I don't know. Kenneth thought it. Well, whatever. But Nerdy Girl, you're the tiebreaker, even though it's 2-0.
It's not really going to be a tiebreaker because I would have to say Deathstroke too because he's more strategic than Scorpion.
I mean, Scorpion is one of the great playable characters in video game history. Get over here, and he had some great movies in the original Mortal Kombat movie, or some great moments in the original Mortal Kombat movie and everything. But you got to remember, Deathstroke is enhanced. He's basically an evil version of Steve Rogers, but he can also use 100% of his brain, which makes him so highly intelligent that he's always going to be 5 steps ahead of you, even though he has been nerfed to shit by modern writers.
Especially if you're working.
Same way Taskmaster did.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen would probably fuck up Deathstroke nowadays. You know what I mean? It's bad writing.
You're talking about My Adventures with Superman.
Harley Quinn could definitely beat Deathstroke at this point.
I mean, Harley Quinn almost beat up Orphan. You saw that, Jim? Did we talk about that when Gabe got put in his place?
Yeah, I did say. I laughed at it and got involved. So, and I was against Gabe as always because I think he's sus. So,
well, Gabe is sus. Federico
Yes.
de la Casa.
yes.
Red Cap, but it seemed a comic for a state guy, and I can't stand Nazi and Cap anymore. There are more Nazis in a comic book writer than in Germany in 1939.
He's not wrong. It's so overplayed. It's just an over. And that's the sad part, because it's a useful foil. I mean, it's one that I think we can all universally go, yeah, probably the bad guy.
Well, and his origin takes place during that time frame, and it makes sense for that character at least.
Yeah, it does. It makes sense for Cap, but it is such an overused trope. It's become a crutch, and honestly, it's a hindrance to Cap at this point. They have to honestly let the whole.
Hey, Doc, I can go with it because we're in the past. We are in the past when Hitler is having his rise to power, so that's fine. But if it were a story in today's climate, like, okay, this is a little lazy.
Well,
but
I feel like that's what the problem is. It's been used so lazily that even proper use of it just makes me roll my eyes, and it's taking the edge away from it.
Yeah, it's rendered meaningless. It's like being called a racist. It doesn't mean what it used to be. Mm-hmm. Kaiser Jose says book of the year so far, but he doesn't actually say what one. Like, do you think he's talking about big game? Do you think he's talking about Wonder Woman? Captain America?
Like Hawk Girl.
Harriet Tubman, Vampire Hunter?
One Piece.
Local Man.
Harriet Tubman.
Superman versus Messi.
If there's a hint, maybe Kaiser. Can we cancel Iceman so it's not Iceman?
Oh, no. He was taught that was somebody said Ricky Martin got canceled, and I said, and somebody else said gays can get canceled, and I said Bryan Singer.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah,
the response was going to be
you get canceled for other reasons.
The one dude,
but
the actor from Seven and The Usual Suspects,
Kevin Spacey.
Oh, Kevin Spacey.
Yep.
There you go. Absolutely. So I don't know what you're saying in this book of the year, but there's a chance.
Are you asking
I would
us?
agree with you, because I'm really starting to think Sacrificers might be book of the year. It's right up there with Batman, Superman, World's Finest.
Good stuff.
Oh, I know the answer to this. It is anything written in 1993.
Okay.
That is the book of the year.
Lane Kramer, what is the most you would spend on a variant cover, Doc?
Well,
what's the most you ever spent on a variant cover?
What is the most I've ever spent on a variant cover? I spent $5.75 on a
$5.75.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, $575.
Ooh.
So you're on the upper.
Or no,
level.
actually, no. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm not even fucking close. I spent $2,200.
Whoa!
On the uncanny on that uncanny X-Men 510 partial sketch J. Scott Campbell variant.
Ooh,
It's because there's about 250 of them.
I think
Doc
he is a real
went up
doctor.
to over $2,000. The most I've ever spent on a variant cover is $8. It was for a Ron Garney variant cover of Savage Sword of Conan #1.
Nice.
Mine's $0.
I spent $25. I spent $25 on Void Rivals #1.
Are you crazy? $25?
It was a 1 in 100 or a 1 in 25 variant cover.
Look
at how he's dressed.
Hey,
he doesn't make good decisions.
Waka waka.
Drew, I have a feeling that you're going to be the closest to Doc out of all of us. Are you getting into the thousands on variant covers?
None to the thousands. I've spent anywhere between $50 to $100 on variant covers. So,
well, there you go.
This one.
How about you, Nerdy Girl? Are you going up to $2,500 on a variant cover?
No. I think the most, if I did buy a variant, was maybe $5. I prefer just to get the print of the cover.
Gedda says, fine, I've been outvoted. Deathstroke wins. It's all good clarification. It's all good clarification. I was put that in one sentence. The anime Vampire Hunter D is superior to the anime 8-Man. I just love the 8-Man character. But you win, Nerdy Girl. Well, man.
Yeah, you can love
you
it.
You just give up like that, Kenneth. You got to keep pushing back. Don't let her win. Otherwise, she's going to think she can be Kenneth says, book of the year, big game, not even close. Miller is taking scalps.
It's good stuff.
Cancel.
Man, it's definitely going to be in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The stuff that's bad right now is really terrible, but man, the stuff that's good is like really good. It really stands out.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me wonder if I went back to like even 2010 when Marvel was pretty hot, would I think The Sacrificers is damn near amazing? Perhaps.
I have to look back at what came out in 2010 around this
No,
time.
I just wonder what it would feel like being read next to a bunch of other good books in the same week. Now, a decent book just really stands out because there might be
this would be a good
four of them.
this would be a good test to see what came out in 2010 at this time. Let's see what came out that same week of Sacrificers in 2010 to see how it would stand up with those books.
Well, it's funny. You know, Brian Michael Bendis, Avengers Disassembled, maybe Mark Miller's Civil War, right?
Nope, you're 5 years later than that.
Okay.
That stuff started in like 03, 04, 05.
04. Yeah, it's like 04. I think, yeah.
So you're looking at Matt Fraction, X-Men.
Nope, it's fine. It'd be better than that.
You're looking at just right before, because you'd be looking at a year before New 52. So you'd be dealing with the build up to
like Brightest Day.
I think it might have been after. Yeah, it would have been Brightest Day.
The Blackest Night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been. It would have been right before Flashpoint, and the lead into Flashpoint.
Lane Kramer says it's a bad sign for Chip that people say Tinney wrote a better Batman and her Catwoman issue than he wrote in Batman 137. That's a bold statement, Cotton.
Serious. I don't know who says
the new
that.
Catwoman this week? Is Drew there? Did he leave?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Oh, I couldn't hear it.
Did you read the new Catwoman this week?
Yeah, I did. It was garbage. I hated it, and I wanted to rip the comic in half. If I actually had it in front of me. But
I did not like it.
Yeah.
It was definitely worse than Batman 137.
There was
did you think her Batman was better?
There was a line of dialogue. There was a line of dialogue in this comic. I had to take a photo. I had to write it down because it was just so stupid. It was with Catwoman.
Hold on, I want to see if I can figure it out, Drew, because this is what stood out to me. He says, "I've lost my money. I've lost my mansion. I've lost Alfred, and they won't take them away." Talking about his family, he says, "Those are my soldiers."
Bullshit.
Yeah,
was that the line, Drew?
That was not the line. There was
you had another line you hated more?
Yes.
Oh.
I hated every line.
It was Catwoman discussing a healthy Gotham.
Yeah.
A healthy Gotham and a good Gotham. It's like,
good
what
Gotham.
the fuck does that mean?
I know. What's the difference?
But
he was a good boyfriend. Yeah. That book was garbage, and I swear to God, like anybody who thinks that that's a good Batman, and I know you're going against Chip Zdarsky, you better start reading more comics because that was awful. It was terrible. Absolutely. And the Batman was just completely horrific.
Yeah, the soldiers line. No, he would never talk about his family.
Plus, she doesn't even know the continuity of what was going on. Everything about that issue sucked.
Kenneth says no variant covers over $10.
I would love to have that, that be the case. I'm just telling you, I've spent way more.
Well, that's because you're insane, Doc. But I mean, you're literally holding $2,300 in your hand.
Yeah, actually, it's probably more at this point. So
hopefully,
yeah.
Callum says, on what Mags said about Bill Willingham, does anyone care what that lazy self-entitled says? No. You just gotta make fun of him.
It's good as we get her in a Brave and the Bold next week, like right on time.
Yeah. She says something stupid. 3 people make a video and mention her, and that's the amount of attention she gets in comic books these days.
I'm just
basically what she earned.
I was just fascinated by the question of, Mags has a family.
Yeah, Mags is married to a woman.
Since when?
Since they went to the fucking church and got married. I don't know her whole history. I know she's married.
Okay, did that person buy the new wig and get rid of the bed bugs?
I don't know, man. I ain't in there like that.
Okay.
Max is married.
I'm just curious.
Well, okay, talk to Max about it.
No, thank you.
She's married.
No, thank
She's
you.
got a family. my goodness, Doc. You're all negative stereotypes, Doc. My goodness. Well, let's get into this. We got some stuff to talk about. There was an interesting thing that happened where, obviously it started out with Bill Willingham saying, hey, I've got this deal with DC and Fables. I'm putting it in public domain. I'm tired of working with these guys. Obviously, we had the Alan Moore saying, stop giving me residuals for movies and television. Give them to Black Lives Matter. I don't want to work with DC. And then we had Rick Remender, Doc, say, I don't want to write, or I guess he turned down X-Men for Marvel and then Batman for DC to continue doing creator-owned work. And it feels like maybe DC and Marvel aren't the destination anymore.
Not at all. Granted, though, this is the second time Rick Remender's turned down X-Men in like the last 4 years. Remember, Jonathan Hickman was the second choice because Remender had already turned it down. But no, this is. I feel like they've all of their appeal. The only people that Marvel and DC are destinations for, like career destinations at this point, are people that have a childhood dream that just want to be able to say, I wrote that character that I love, that story that I had in my head since I was a kid, and figured out how to make it work, and they get to put their fanfic into reality, but try to do it in a respective way where it's not just published fanfic, and those that want to use it as a stepping stone to something else, get their name out there, and then finally those that just want to use well-known properties in order to engage in what is essentially nothing more than social engineering. I mean, we see it all the time with ostensibly normal arguments being put into the mouths of villains in order to demonize people's political enemies. You have weird, people's weird fetish stuff. I mean, granted, we had that back in the day. I mean, Chuck Austin, really. That's all I got to say. So we've always had that, but it's now in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
like the color purple, it's everywhere in these comic books these days. You can't turn a page without walking into a wall of purple.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole bisexual lighting thing that's
everywhere.
That's somebody needs to go. Who's the guy that owned Liquid, the coloring company?
I don't know. I know that the Pantone color of the year last year for 2022 was called Very Perry, and it's been this pink purple variant. See, in 2016, pink was the big color of the year, and it's only gotten more purpler over the past couple of years. But that's like the hot trendy color.
Is. And it's in everywhere, and it's obnoxious.
It's obnoxious.
But so the only people that really want to be there at this point are people that have absolutely no interest in actually being there. So that there is when you, I mean, it would be like going to work at some big giant, going to work at fucking Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And that is no longer the destination. The destination is going to Microsoft, getting your name out there, and then making indie apps. How fucking far will Microsoft have to have fallen in order for that to be the case? That would be, that doesn't make sense in any other industry. I mean, you don't become somebody big and important with a big role at Coke and Pepsi in order to then go start your own soda company.
Yeah, it's weird though, because it's always, it's been the idea of, making your brand, your personal brand, up that. But I mean, Rick Remender, he doesn't need that. And then you look at things, and people are even mentioning, like, look at what Batman did elevate Tom King. It did with Tynion, but since then, most of the people that come on, they don't have anything to say. They seem embarrassed to be writing Batman anyway, and they just take it because it's what it is. But in the meantime, I think Chip Zdarsky's, his deal has gone down since writing Batman. People actually doing the X books. Who wants to get involved with them if it's what's currently going on? Like if they've said to Rick Remender, we're going to reboot, you start it up, maybe that'd be a thing, but he doesn't own the characters anyway. So he's big enough, but there's always going to be that people lining up because you're on those big books. They're going to sell just because they sell, especially like a Batman. But in the end, I mean, I don't know if it actually helps everybody when they show up and dick around. They don't have anything to say. They insert their own things into it and do pretty much fan fiction, like we're saying. And like Batman should be that deal where you come in and you're excited to write it and you want to tell this big story. I mean, most people who are writing comics should have like an idea. Man, this would be my Batman story. It seems like they come in with nothing on their mind and then just end up just, like I said, dicking around and making everything worse.
Well, Did you just call him Chump Zdarsky?
Yeah,
I might have.
Is that a Freudian slip?
No. Yeah. It might have been the NyQuil. I was just guzzling NyQuil for a second. I'm a little out of it. I'm not a drinker either, so that's pretty bad for me.
You brought up a good point there.
Oh my.
You know, you got somebody like Remender.
Yeah.
He's coming in. They gave him carte blanche to essentially reboot the X-Men when they first offered him the deal before Hickman came in and broke it. Now they're offering him, how is this even a better deal? I mean, now it's, hey, come fix the fuck up that we made because you said no the first time. Yeah. And that's going to be like, how is this appealing to any talented creator?
Yeah. And it's funny now, it's gotten to the point where, DC and Marvel, they need Remender way more than he needs them. And so, what kind of deal? It's no deal. He's, screw you. Plus, he likes to dig into them and yell about them. So it's even better for him that way.
Mm-hmm. And plus, I mean, Remender did Black Science, which was an amazing story on Image a couple of years, but what was that, like a decade ago? And does he get more out of that financially in reprints?
Yeah.
And, than he would currently writing.
And to swirl it all around, this actually goes well with Wes and the channel, with Mark Miller saying they need to get these big names back, but you're seeing that it might be a little harder than just Mark Miller saying, hey, we need to get some big names back because it's going to be tough.
You need to get big names back and give them back end.
Yeah, you have to give them something.
You have to give them money on the front end to make it worthwhile, and you have to give them points on the back end.
Exactly.
The way that guys like Chris Claremont and all those guys in the 80s had, because the trade market was so non-existent and it was reserved for only like the biggest things. So at that point they gave you good money on the back end. Now nobody gets anything on the back end because half the time the only way that that book even breaks even is on the back end when it gets to trades.
And think of that all around, because tied all in. Remender says, screw them, it's not worth it. Then you also have Bill Willingham who's saying, I created these damn characters and it's supposed to be mine, but they're not even giving me all the money there. I mean, it's a shit show on top of a shit show. It's nothing works out, and just this week just shows you that just how bad it's going for DC and Marvel, and how there might not be a solution, and they're going to be stuck, and really we're going to be stuck with shit writers like Jedzia Axelrod and all that they just show up just to tell their little insert fan fiction. That sucks, and it's just going to implode and completely not even implode. It's just going to explode into the sun.
Let's be honest. If any of these publishers were actually offering real money to any of these good writers, do you think they're still taking the creator-owned stuff? No, they're not. Because while they could bet on themselves, and some of them, they're not going to go exclusive with Marvel, and even their exclusive deals don't preclude them from doing a creator.
No, they could still do all that. That doesn't stop them.
Yeah, it just means they can't go work for a different publisher that is on work for hire work. But if they backed up the Brinks truck to Rick Remender, he wouldn't have done an exclusive deal with Image is I won't publish elsewhere my creator-owned shit. He can still take work for hire anywhere.
Yeah. And to show how desperate they are, DC at one point, it was a big thing that, hey, who are they going to hire to do Batman? Oh, my God, Tom King is going to get kicked out. And it was the big thing of whoever does Batman has to be exclusive to DC to write Batman because we don't need them going around and doing nonsense. That's going out the window. Chip Zdarsky just announced a new Marvel book. I mean, they're allowing things to happen, but they still can't get, the real big or good writers. And are they even out there anymore?
But if they backed up the Brinks truck to any of these people,
yeah.
I mean, you could get fucking Jim Lee to come and draw a book at Marvel if they offered him, $10,000 a page, $20,000 a page.
You've got to imagine he makes over $1 million annually.
I know.
Why would he want to do it?
Put a little pin in that theory right now. That after the Donny Cates situation with Marvel and how much Marvel paid him, the six figures in advance, and how that kind of imploded in their face, I don't think those deals are going to be happening again.
Yeah.
I know. I absolutely know that because he blew that up for everybody. But if they did it with somebody, well, I mean, granted, he was a little bit more of an unknown commodity. He was a semi-known commodity. You get somebody, a Peter David, a somebody that's actually has a history that isn't 30 something years old and already on a drunk, maybe it works out a little better, but yeah, he blew that up for everybody, so it's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, if they did back up the truck, every one of these people would be taking it.
Yeah, it's not like writing a Batman book would preclude him from doing his creator-owned stuff and making stuff like Sacrificers and whatever other projects he has. But I can tell you right now, Remender Batman book sounds pretty good. As long as he doesn't take him to another dimension and give him a kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think people would be excited about the idea of it and read it. But, even if it was good or bad down in the long run, Yule is in the, the deal talking crap here. But it's
obviously on NyQuil.
I love when Yule ends up talking crap. Oh, it's the best. But yeah, I mean, you would get people at least to pay attention. And when they pay attention, then they say, oh my God, I heard good things about that Philip Kennedy Johnson Action Comics. Or, hey, I heard that Superman's pretty good. Let me check out that. It's that trickle-down effect that they don't have anymore, especially when you tie in with Teenie Howard and the Catwoman book with your major book coming off of an awful 2-month hiatus-like event that nobody cared about. They need something.
Well, I think that's another thing I think that probably really affects people, Drew, is that even if you get the Batman book or maybe you get the Spider-Man gig, it's not going to be completely your vision because every 2 or 3 months you're going to be interrupted for another 2 or 3 months for an event that they have to have Batman or they have to have Spider-Man or some type of tie-in story to make it relevant to where people will even realize it's going on.
Yeah, and it's going to be interrupted, and before you know it, people are going to forget that you had that series. And you're going to be left wondering, okay, clearly my book is not the priority here. You're not going to publish, you're not going to promote it. It's all going to be up to me to really promote it. And it honestly, if DC or Marvel ever came to me to ask them to write something, I'm going to say no because they don't deserve my work. After seeing what they're pushing and promoting, it's never going to happen.
If Marvel gave you the opportunity to write your favorite hero, you wouldn't do it?
No.
You're crazy. That's hard. Come on, Drew. That's your lifelong dream.
No, honestly, seriously, after looking at what they're pushing, what they're promoting, they're putting out there, no, it's not happening.
You wouldn't want to make the other writers of Marvel look like chumps?
No, I'm not. No, it's because it does. I don't want my work to be mingled with that work. I don't want to be in the same.
How about this?
You don't want your work to get cooties?
How about if they asked you to be an editor for DC or Marvel, where you can actually, make things better? Would you do that? Because I would. I wouldn't want to write either. I'd actually want to be an editor. I'd buy a whip. I'd go in there. It'd be great. I'd be canceled in 2 days. It'd be fun.
Jim, if I signed you to a contract, there would be like a no death clause, like no snowboarding, no plugging in light fixtures, no painting your house because you're going to fall off the ladder. There'd be all kinds of stuff in there just in case.
Yep. You say that. I went skiing one time ever, broke my wrist.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're lucky you didn't break your neck.
I was running into a tree and reached out and actually broke my wrist.
saving your body.
Yes, and it was a wrist that I'd already broken a couple times playing.
Were you
hockey,
like skiing in New Jersey or someplace that didn't actually have mountains?
Poconos. It's right near here. It's okay. I mean, it was great, but again, I go there and I never skied before. I got pissed off because people were like making fun of me because I was going to go on like the bunny trail. So I went on like a black.
It's a bunny slope. It's not a bunny trail.
Well, and I ended up like, okay, I'll go with what everybody. I'm going to pretend I can ski because I'm an athletic guy. Right into a tree. Done. I was in the lodge then.
You should have went down the bunny slope.
I should have.
I feel like somebody's got to burn sage around Jim before
yeah,
he goes and does
you need
anything.
to. It's my wife who hexes me every day, I believe.
She's got like a little voodoo doll.
She has a voodoo doll. Yeah. I'm like, what is that? What is that like crazy gremlin? Oh, it's me. Shit. And then, there you go.
Oh my goodness. But I do know, Doc said, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, what Mark Miller wants to do is, pie in the sky. It'll never happen. But he does have a plan. He just has to have Marvel and DC sign off on it, because I think one of the things he also realizes is they aren't incentivizing the best writers to come and work for them.
Mm-hmm. He has a book coming out, so maybe that's like the stepping stone deal. He'll do that. You got to make it so that you have that first person get a deal, and then you can work the way. It's like, free agency in the NFL. You got to work up that deal, then everybody can work off that one and see if they could do it. But I don't know. It might be pie in the sky. Be cool though.
I hope it happens. We need it to happen.
Yeah, just imagine like big game right now is like Gotham more. Instead of what we're getting, it would just be incredible. People would be losing their minds. That's what we need.
Yeah, but I still don't think DC would let Mark Miller take chances like that with their characters, like he's doing with his own.
Just go. I'm telling you, have at the deal at the end of like a Nightwing book. It's like the last page of Wanted, where Dick Grayson is yelling at the audience. It'd be the best ever.
Man, speaking of Nightwing, did you read Nightwing this week, Eric?
No, I didn't.
How about you, Drew?
Yeah, we got the return of Rick Grayson. Isn't that what we all wanted?
Wasn't that weird? That last page, I was excited. I was like, Nightwing and Pirates? Coolest fucking idea I've ever heard. Absolutely. This comic book is everything I ever wanted. And the last page and the big reveal is the pirate is B. I was like, oh, God. Way to make it not cool.
I might be the biggest B fan because I reviewed and read all of Rick Grayson, and I was even like, really? Well, what's going on here? Why are we doing this?
Oh, God.
But, yeah, the opening with Rick Grayson, I was like, did I get the wrong comic book? I thought we dropped this stuff and memory dumped it like 2 fucking years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
apparently not.
I imagine we're going to see more people come out rejecting Marvel and DC and talking more smack, because it definitely feels like the creators are emboldened right now, Carrie, where they're kind of fed up too.
Yeah, and you don't blame them, because it's not just the editing and like the cleaning up the mess of the previous writer. You've also got to deal with, if you remember the whole Black Adam incident, the alleged sensitivity group that was going over everything and changing it. Who wants to deal with that? I wouldn't want to deal with all that. I'd rather just control my own story.
God. He's like, you're being overly
but that's a positive one.
Wes, you need to kill that lady. You need to call her some bad names. Get some people in there. Goodness. We do have some people speaking. Let's hear from the folks. Cal Weil said, so Mags is straight. I don't know. I don't know there's terminology for that. I don't even think about it, to be honest.
I'm not going
but Mags is absolutely married to a woman. Federico de la Casa, no, Doc. Nowadays, Chuck Austin seems like Alan Moore.
The Bionic Man?
I don't know. I think Doc left us. I think he must
he did said be right back.
I'm a square.
But there you go. Third Rail has a question for Eric. Do you walk around with that Pikachu backpack? Do you have the stones to rock Pikachu backpack?
I would get one of those Pikachu bodysuits if I could. Just embrace the whole thing.
You wear the backpack, like a mini backpack with like a little chihuahua hanging out of it?
No, but I'd get one of those little clip-on little mini Pikas. You know what I mean? That would be cute.
What about yours? The backpack do you wear it? The one behind you?
That's an actual Pikachu. What are you talking about?
It's not a Pikachu backpack.
Dude, no, it's an actual Pokemon. Dude.
Do you walk
He fights.
around with it?
He shocks me.
It's his pet.
Dude, it's my executive
He'd get
producer.
beat up by a roving band of selfies if he went out with that as a
Dude,
backpack.
If you get Eric a Pikachu backpack, he'll definitely rock it in Boston.
I would totally
He'll go to
kill
Southie.
that. Totally.
Caleb says, does anyone now want to work with hipsters with gender studies degrees working under a weak-willed Jim Lee and a fat guy who only cares about food?
No,
In
exactly.
the secret committee.
Man.
You know, what's funny is like when I read that, it's like I compare it to my situation right now when I'm working with Marat Michaels. So this recent project I just wrote for him, this 40-pager. He came to me and said, we're making this like X-Men #1 back in the day. He said, go get your books. He said, pull out your essential editions, go to this for reference. Mm-hmm. I want 1, 2, 3 pagers where it's like nothing but all out action. It's like, all right, I got it. And sure enough, he loved it. And I can't wait for everyone to see it. But it's just compared to what the energy that Marat Michaels and I have compared to this crap, it pisses me off. Just people not.
I would be unfireable at Marvel Comics. I can tell you that. Every day I would come back from lunch and I would have a couple rolls of sushi. I put it on CB's desk and see how he's doing. And I would be his best friend.
Yep.
That's the way you do it. Caleb says, let alone a high-mind-like environment.
The problem is, like, and even going with what Drew said, with the idea where you have, especially at DC, where even Leah Williams comes over from Marvel and says it's so great because they don't give a rat's ass about anything from before. They told me not even to read past things, to just go and do my own story and get a Power Girl that's nonsense. And they applauded that, and they wanted her to do that. She actually came in and said, according to her, what do I need to go? How are we going to do what background, what origin are we using for, Power Girl? And they said, why are you asking us that? No, don't worry about that shit. Just do your own thing. And that's why you get an awful book that becomes more of a joke than anything else. It's happening with Hawkgirl right now too.
Hawkgirl is
it's
atrocious.
So bad. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that bullet.
Federico De La Casa, now writing Batman X-Men is too risky for a writer. Have to raise the title from a falling trajectory, little money, poor edit support, and the mob crowd.
Yeah, you are setting it up to be like the big hero, though. If you come in and have a really good story, you could end up really hitting hard if you do that, though. At this
and
point,
also, you would have so many people disparaging you on social media and had so many bad things said about you.
Yeah.
If you went against some of these storylines, so there is a risk to it.
There is.
This is all upside,
Yeah, I mean, granted, the people that are disparaging you don't buy comics. Would never buy comics.
Yeah, but people that want to hire you, they do look at social media.
I know.
What people are saying about you.
Well, that's because they're morons. But
that's why you just delete all your social media and just write a good book.
That's really the only way through. You delete your social media or just.
Are you suggesting that you don't like the Twitter backpass for social currency, Doc?
Yeah. It generally does not. I can't send those to the electric company for to pay my electric bill, or the phone company, or the cable company, or the gas company, or my bank for my mortgage. I can't do that. That doesn't pay actual bills. Now, granted, if we get to the Chinese social credit score that the Twitter mob likes, maybe then we can.
God.
But
you don't really get money for that. You get rights, Doc.
Yeah, you just get the privilege of having lights, and a phone, and cable, and gas, and a
the ability to fly.
Yeah,
go on vacation, stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Kenneth says, I remember Mark Miller saying that for the industry to thrive, that Marvel and DC need to do well. There should be other alternative publishers, but the big two need to have good work.
It's true.
True. The big two can't fail their way into your success. That's always been the case. You can't. You have to do better than them and make. You have to be significantly better. Otherwise, all you're doing is shrinking everything. They shrink, but you don't get better. You don't suddenly start selling more books just because those people that were buying Marvel now decide to buy your stuff. They just don't go to the store anymore.
Well, hopefully there is an environment where maybe another American comic book company kind of stands up in its place. I don't think Image is set up that way, just the way that they do quality control and they pick their books, and the fact that they don't have really a financial incentive for the most part to promote any of those books. But it's certainly been shown that you can start a new comic book company and be successful and overtake Marvel and DC in just a matter of years. But, that's what the direct market needs. But I don't think any of these companies that are starting up are looking at the direct market. They're looking more at the bookstore channel where there's actual growth going on. Mm-hmm. And I think Marvel and DC need to look at the direct market and actually go out there and talk to comic book store owners and figure out what the problem is and figure out how they can get this thing back on track. Or, we might end up losing a good portion of it.
They definitely need to work on quality. Definitely in quality. You can't depend on the IP.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble and Amazon and books or stores like that, they don't need Marvel and DC to be good to be successful when they're selling books and graphic novels and manga and tankobons or whatever. It's really the direct market that we're focusing on here when we talk about this stuff that do depend on Marvel and DC creating a slew of quality that keep people coming into the door every single week and then tasting and sampling other books from other companies and realizing what else they like out there. And when DC and Marvel are on a downslope, it specifically hurts the direct market. It doesn't hurt the rest of the comic book market.
You'll mention in the comments, there's never been another comic company to rival the big two. I disagree. Image in 1993, 1994, and 1995 bumped DC to number 3.
Yes.
So there can be. The problem was it was structured. The only way for it to work was an interconnected universe with superstar creators. Even when cross-gen came about, if it wasn't for the fact that they were too genre specific and they kind of intentionally avoided working on the going in and challenging in the superhero genre, they had the talent to. The problem is they were doing niche genre things that didn't have the kind of mainstream appeal that Marvel and DC did. Image worked until everybody's fucking egos got in the way and they stopped shipping shit on time.
And with that whole thing too, in the current deal, the big two they're the gateway drug. If you're going to get new writer or new readers, they're going to want to get Spider-Man. Really. And then it, as we know for a fact, it then expands, right? So you end up where they read Spider-Man, Batman, that get into comics, and then then we'll look at a side deal, an Image or whatever, an indie thing. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of younger, newer readers that are going to show up right away and say, hey, I heard there's that big thing from Dynamite, let me grab that. Except unless it's like big boob, like Vampirella or something. They might like that. Still, or grab Xenoscope. But you need to have them get in and people get into the hobby as well to keep it going and keep it healthy. And you're not going to be able to do that without the big two.
Right, but I still think there's an issue with if you don't have quality for the story, get into it. Well, you can't even depend on the movies to sell it.
The problem is if it's the game, if you go and you get shit reefer for your first deal, you're done. You're not going to go and get the coke and the heroin. You're going to stop.
Nobody wants to be rocking ditch.
No.
Magetta says, I bought a variant cover for Captain America #1. Cap is showing off carrying 10 or 12 cement bags. I had to buy it. It was $7 or $8 stock. It looks good, yet kind of ridiculous. I thought it was worth it.
Okay, I mean
that's a man that has his variant cover addiction in control, unlike you.
Is cement bags another thing for boobs? I'm not sure.
I think that's
okay.
No.
I mean, I almost contemplated buying the Rob Liefeld Falcon cap boobs variant, but I hate Falcon cap, so
the other problem is you compare that to his original cap. It looks very subdued compared to what he did previously.
It's really
digital.
Does. Yeah, Rob toned his exaggerations way down over the years, and it kind of to his own detriment.
Yeah. Terrence Bernard says the big two are too predatory for any real talent to take the risk of losing creator freedom and no real pay for the grinding hours. Yeah, I mean that's how they killed off of the Vertigo imprint the first time. Once they realized that Neil Gaiman was able to take this thing that he created and obviously published through them and had his own creative rights, was able to expand the universe on his own and negotiate potential TV deals and stuff like that. They were like, nope, we got to take all that in-house and treat it like it's Batman. And now that's why everything's at Image now instead of DC Vertigo. So, absolutely. Great point there. All right, what else we got? We got some other stuff to talk about. This is absolutely a Doc segment right here, if I've ever seen one. Marvel Comics are basically skipping out on 2023, at least the rest of it, Doc. I don't know if this is the impression you got, because they wanted to tell us all the reasons to get excited for 2024. We've got the fall of the House of X, the rise of the Powers of 10, the end of the Avengers, Magneto Resurrection, and Ultimate Spider-Man all coming back in 2024. You're not even supposed to worry about Gang Wars anymore.
Yeah, well, I think they realized they shot themselves in the foot in 2023, and they're like, well, fuck, I guess we still have to put this shit out. We already commissioned it. We already paid for it. But all this stuff is DOA already. I mean, it's stillborn at this point. So let's not try to promote it. Let's just jump ahead to 2024. We'll work our way through it, because I think they realized that they had overextended. They thought people were going to give more shits about things than they did. But
they won't care if you break it all and destroy it at the end.
Yeah.
They're breaking the Avengers and the X-Men line. That's the way I took it, right?
I still don't believe that they're leaving the Krakoa era. This is all it is just the next phase where it's going to start doing the future stuff that fucking
Hickman, stuff that you like.
Well, yes, but without any of the talent that I would have been interested in doing it. You still have Jerry Duggan, Kieran fucking Gillen, two complete and utter hacks, running that shit show, but with a hipster doofus as the ringleader. Everybody
going to be
Sully
anymore. It'll be Revort moving forward.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
As far as I'm concerned, look, okay, fine. They're finally deciding to build on the foundation that Hickman started. The only problem is half the fucking foundation is already rotted because they let it sit too long and be exposed to the elements for far too long. All of the major gigantic flaws of it were laid bare for everyone to see. We all got sick and tired of it. The only way that this whole resurrection orgy island drug dealing segregationist supremacist thing worked is if they blew through it fast enough that people couldn't realize how fucking retarded it was and how much it was not the X-Men. Well, they stuck around on all the shit and just kept saying, hey, look at all this stuff. Look at all this stuff that isn't the X-Men. We're changing the X-Men. And they put a giant neon sign on it for 3 years. And now we're like, you know what? Fuck off, you jerk-offs. This is you screwed it up. And now they're going to start going into this future because they beat the present era part to fucking death. They turned that goddamn horse to glue.
Oh yeah.
And now they're going to try to move on with a vague outline of maybe sort of approaching similar to what Hickman was planning to do with Sinister's hybrids on Mars and the Phalanx and human Sentinel merger shit and blue fucking humans in the future.
And but you know with X-Men, Doc?
Yeah, like, I mean, and somehow Moira's going to have to become a human again. But without dying and resetting the timeline. And nobody gives a shit about this.
And because don't forget, Jason Aaron's Adventures was somehow worse.
Yes, it really is. No, they blew this up, and now they're like, well, fuck. I guess we'll finally move forward with stage 2 of this after 4 years of showing us all the flaws that were present in stage 1. You had to get through that quickly. And now they're going to go do Twilight of the Avengers. We just saw the Avengers, the end of the Avengers with Jason Aaron. We just saw it. And they're going to do it again, but all it is some sort of, I mean, it looks like a borderline knockoff version of what was it? The last Avengers story? Maybe. But I mean, hey, I like Daniel Acuna just fine. But
they got good art in all these books, Doc.
Yeah, they well,
Lucas Wernick, we got
Lucas
RB
Wernick
Silva,
Lucas Wernick
is Marco Cicchetto.
Lucas Wernick is good-ish. Like there's a lot of times where I've seen him really drop the ball. RB Silva, I mean, he's fine as another Stuart Immonen clone, and then Marco Cicchetto, fine. I don't see him really fitting Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't see how this works. And Daniel Acuna, I thought he got his Avengers out of his system when he did it with what was it with Hickman like 10 years ago. So no, and I fucking hated when he came on and did the second volume of, I think he was on for the second volume of Uncanny Avengers during the Axis era. And that was honestly, that was the worst art that I've ever seen him do. So last time I saw Daniel Acuna, he got worse. So I don't know if I really want to see him now. So, and then didn't Ultimate Marvel just flop miserably and like fall hard on its face with Hickman and Hitch? Didn't it?
I think the first issue sold out, didn't it?
But
maybe it's sold at comic shops, but not to customers because no one's ordering gods.
Pricey.
Yeah, it's $10 books, and then, but I haven't heard anybody talk a fucking bit about it since issue 1, other than the fact
the only
that
person I saw talk about it was Pert saying everyone was sad in the third issue.
Yeah, like I mean, they just sat around and were sad,
sad faces every page.
Yeah, so why? I mean, is anybody even going to be really that interested in a relaunch? Look, you can't get your primary universe right. Why are you doing a second one?
Drew,
The biggest thing I thought out of all this is I didn't realize they never resurrected Magneto. Why wouldn't they have?
Yeah, I honestly, I'm very curious to see what that reception is going to be like. I want to see what it's going to be like in New York because they're saying it's good. They're going to be doing something big with it at New York, so we'll see about that. But I'm honestly prepared to fall asleep incredibly hard reading Ultimate Spider-Man after Ultimate Invasion. Look, I respect Jonathan Hickman, but an action writer, he is not. And I expect boredom, nothing but sheer boredom out of those books, much like Ultimate Invasion.
You do realize Doc is on absolute crack saying that he doesn't want Cicchetto on a Spider-Man book, right?
He's wrong there. I will say that's the one instance Doc is wrong because, yeah, Cicchetto's the guy you want.
Okay.
When I saw that Daredevil issue where Spider-Man showed up, I think it was 2 issues in a row. I was like, man, I wish he was illustrating Spider-Man right now. Him or Stegman.
Yeah, and what was it? There was that zombie series, that Life Zero, that Cicchetto did the interiors for.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Yeah, that book was made like 4 or 5 years ago, but it absolutely looks good. I think he'll be perfectly fine for that book.
Yeah.
Although he does have more of a hard-edged style to it rather than like the sleek design you would expect for Ultimate Spider-Man.
Maybe that's the point from the Ultimate line. Ultimate, hard, hard line. I don't know.
It doesn't feel like Jonathan Hickman. He seems like slick and buttoned up comics,
Yeah.
How many infographic pages are you going to have?
He said none.
They promised Zero and Gods.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Gods. I'm talking about Ultimate Spider-Man. Jonathan Hickman has to spend 48 issues explaining exactly how the radioactive spider maybe made him actually connect to some spider god in another universe that is
We can have the Spider Machine and how all the Spider-Man do this unique thing.
The
and they
Spider
come
Machine
together like Voltron.
That's it. He's gonna it's gonna be the Spider Machine, the same way it was the X Machine, and the way before that it was the Avengers Machine.
It was the Resurrection Machine, Doc. It wasn't the X Machine.
Yeah, but then he also used it with the whole like Voltroning people's powers together.
Oh, with the Chimera.
Yeah, no. Well, both the chimeras as well as the mutant circuits bullshit. He introduced that. Jerry Duggan's the one that did most of it with it.
Yeah, that's never a good combination for success. I was pretty disappointed about that, Jim. Jerry Duggan, the headliner once again on an X-Men book.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to tie it into Hawks and Pox so bad, and the name doesn't even sound right.
No,
the fall of the House of X and the rise of the
powers of 10. It's just nonsense, and it should have ended before and made Doc a happy guy. And even what they're doing, and it's weird because the solicits for December just come out, but then they're pushing 2024. But
don't forget about 2023.
Yeah, and this is what they do. I mean, if you ever look at their press releases or actually get them, they end up when a new series comes out, you'll get an email from Marvel within the first issue or two telling you, just wait till this spoiler thing happens in issue 8. Like they can't, they don't trust anything going on. They have to keep pumping something else out. And like you said, and like Doc was saying, and Drew, that Ultimate Invasion, I don't hear anybody talking about. It's pretty boring. And the big thing is, I don't look at it as an expensive comic. It's more of a cheap Ambien prescription, because every time I read any of those issues, I fall right to sleep. I can't, and it's just not fun. It's just,
it's
feels
not
like
good for you because you have to record 14 versions or pieces of your podcast.
No, it's better because then I don't know what I'm saying, and it actually comes out more intelligent, I think, if I'm out of it. So, but it just, none of this excites anybody, and they're actually pushing things coming down. And when they announced a bunch of these things, if you do go on Twitter and look at the announcements, it's hilarious because the minute they announce something, it's like people come out of the woodwork like, we don't need this, who asked for this? It's just constant. They just keep doing it.
It's not one side, it's every side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is true. And maybe what they have to do is announce that in 2024, you'll end up, instead of being Japanese, you'll end up having CB. He's now German. He'll do that. He shift throughout the whole deal, get it worldwide. He could just be a different nationality, different deal every 3 months. Is what I'd do.
Well, you know what? Honestly, what they needed to do. Does anybody remember reading all the X books leading up to Age of Apocalypse?
Ooh,
so you had Legion Quest going on in Uncanny and possibly Adjectiveless. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, it was Adjectiveless, but all the rest of the books were still doing their normal thing, right? They were going about their normal storylines, and then at the end of right after X-Men 41 came out, where Legion killed Xavier in the past, all the books that came out finished the issue the exact same way. Mid-scene, everything turns to crystal. They can do that with the X-Men, where all the books are still coming out, and in one of the books, someone just shoots Moira in the fucking head, and all of the books reset, except for it's not just for 4 months, it's forever.
Yeah, because she has reached maturity. Now that her mutant ability is enacted, as soon as you kill her, everything resets to the time she was born.
Yeah. So you shoot her in the head, it resets to, hey, they didn't decide to do Orgy Island.
And you kill a robot, though, because she's not human anymore. She's a Terminator.
No, you put her consciousness back into a cloned body, and then you shoot her in the head. That's it. That's.
What about dropping her into a vat of a molten? You know what I mean?
Like a Terminator.
Yeah.
Like Terminator.
She's got her hand up, and there's still one chip. Nostalgia.
I mean, they could, and that would be about par for the course with the lack of creativity of the X Office. Literally, just steal from Terminator 2 directly.
Well, they already stole from Terminator 2 when Jonathan Hickman was doing the original story.
Well, no, they stole from some book.
No, but there are absolutely elements from Terminator.
Oh God, yes. But yeah, no, you just put her back in a body. In some random issue of any of the X lines, someone shoots her in the head.
Put her in Betsy Braddock's body.
Yeah, all of the well, it doesn't.
She loses her agency again.
Yes, all of the other books literally just stop with like the crystal thing, like the Mcron crystal resetting time, and then they never decided to make Orgy Island with all the villains because
she gets reborn as Betsy Braddock now.
I know, but you just reset it back to a variation of the X-Men that anybody actually likes.
Well, they can't go back to the mansion, Doc. People,
why not?
It'd be regression of the characters.
They do that.
They've gone back to the mansion like 8 times.
Yeah, that's like
they've already reset the entire universe multiple times.
It's like a cycle there. I mean, like we leave the mansion, we grow up, and then then comes the Outback, and then we go back to the mansion, and then comes SISM and San Francisco, and then we go back to the mansion, and then comes Krakoa. And now what? We can go back to the mansion now and go the Danger Room and have some classic X-Men adventures. And I'm all for that.
And then they move the mansion to Central Park for no reason, and then they move it to Limbo for no reason, and they put it back in.
They make it a treehouse.
Yeah, then they make it a treehouse.
That's got to be is that the dumbest thing that Jerry Duggan did?
No, I think that would be X-Men Green, but
yeah, I think
I want a honeycomb hideout.
That's the X-Men using a treehouse. It's pretty fucking stupid.
Maybe he really thinks of them like Ewoks.
Yeah, well, Ewoks are cool.
No, they aren't.
What?
Well, it fits in with Krakoa being an island, So
Jim, are you gonna let him talk like that about Ewoks?
I might. Here's the thing: Ewoks at the time that they came out, ridiculous. Now, in retrospect, one of the best things that we've had in that whole.
When
time
Chewbacca is doing the Tarzan noise while he's swinging with the 2 Ewoks on his back to get onto the Imperial.
That's
Walker,
cool,
that
but
awesome.
they did act like wimps when C-3PO was telling that story, getting all scared and shit like that. And then afterwards, they did eat stormtroopers. So I'll tell you, they're pretty vicious, right?
The stormtroopers, yeah, and they were using ropes to
trip
the technology.
Singing the Chub Chub song. Oh, that was awesome.
Remember the 2 logs that came down and smashed?
Oh, those were awesome. Yeah.
Ewoks are great.
I wanted to see them. Figures. I'd love to see the 20 Ewoks that it took to set each of those fucking logs up. Though they're on top of each other's shoulders and shit going on. It'd be great. They're awesome.
They must have had all that stuff set up ahead of time.
Probably have
logistically
ticks and just bugs and shit like that. That'd be awful.
Well, I'm not saying go mate with an Ewok, but I'd like.
I thought that's what you were saying. No, I actually just sent a message. I swiped right on freaking Wicket.
So we fix this very simply. We kill Moira, we reset the universe, we give her the mutant cure, and then they never we can make her. Yeah, then it's locked, and we don't do drug dealing island anymore because in this Moira life, she decided to not do this shit.
What about this one, Doc? They build the mansion in the Bermuda Triangle.
And then nobody can ever get to it, and we forget it's there, and they hang out with Amelia Earhart forever. Cool, fine. Just don't put it.
Bendis put the Fortress of Solitude there. They can hook up there. We'll have a cross.
A lot of comic writers are obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle.
Didn't Kevin Spacey Superman movie Superman Returns? Didn't they put that Kryptonite Island in the Bermuda Triangle?
That was just Kevin Spacey's own island that he set up.
Remember, he was going to make his own kryptonite continent that couldn't support land or people, and then he was going to sell it as real estate. That was the big plan.
And it didn't have any dirt to grow agriculture. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Even my nephews here that are 6 and 5 years old are going to know this is bullshit.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to grow some. I'm going to grow some fucking potatoes in those crystals over there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, not a good moment. No. Where should they go back to, Doc? If there's a moment in time to restart over, you say they just go back to the mansion at any time?
No, I mean you can go. Honestly, I would go back to I go back to pre-Age of X-Man. And you can go to the... Well, actually, I go pre-Bendis.
Red and blue?
No, I go pre-Bendis. So before all new X-Men. And just go to... if I keep going, I'm going to keep going back. Pre-AVX. Yeah.
Let's go pre-New Mutant or New X-Men.
Yeah.
It's the original sin of the X-Men line was hiring Grant Morrison, and he fucked everything up.
Yeah, you're probably right. So yeah, they can go back, and we can have a different reality where they never decided to move to San Francisco and become this weird gay rights allegory all the time, forever and ever and ever. Thank you, Matt Fraction, and go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you're the one that likes Matt Fraction.
I fucking hate Matt Fraction. He fucks up everything he touches, him and his wife.
Goodness.
Wow.
Very mean stuff to say. Let's hear from the people. Although I want to say this first. Drew, if there was a comic book that was announced out of that list that I wanted to read, it was Ultimate Spider-Man because of Chichetto on Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I'll be honest, I'm not going for Hickman. But yeah, Chichetto, that's the draw right there with him and his art on Spider-Man. Because I mean his work with Street Level Vigilantes, Daredevil, case in point, they're beautiful. And I can't wait to see what he does with Spider-Man. But story-wise, I'm expecting.
I wish he was on the real ASM that wasn't written by Zeb Wells.
Yeah,
that's what I was.
Oh yeah, speaking of regular ASM, this week's issue of ASM, there is no way Patrick Gleason did that art. That art looks like dog shit. It says he did it, but no, there's no way. It looks like he took remainders from JRGR and finished it.
Ooh, well, that doesn't sound good. All right, well, let's hear from the peoples because we got to get to Wonder Woman because Carrie actually read that book just for us, so we got to get to that segment. Keta says, Ultimate Spider-Man got me excited at first. Then the more I thought about it, the excitement disappeared. Hickman lost all credibility with Hawks and Pox. Even if it's good, there will be interference like you guys said earlier. In theory, there won't be any interference because it's Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Universe line, right? In theory?
Yeah.
If Jonathan Hickman... Here's where you're going to run into an issue. If Jonathan Hickman is running it the same way he was, the head of X, that means he's going to get to make the determining decisions in who's hired. He is an awful talent evaluator.
Yeah,
he has
might
demonstrated
need
this. He needs interference. You cannot let that motherfucker pick who's going to work in that office because
Did
it
you
will
forget
fall
that Drew
apart.
has like ringing in his ears, man?
I think it was preemptive.
Actually,
He's like on the ground.
Lowering my volume.
He thinks he can't hear.
I apologize, Drew.
I hear
completely
him just
forgot.
fine.
I imagine Drew with the ear horn up to the speaker.
I welcome Doc's rants over the ringing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to drown it out here, please. But no, he needs interference because he needs somebody to tell him, by the way, everyone that you just picked is fucking awful. Go pick a different group of people.
Yeah, it's like the George Costanza do the opposite. Have the list of who he'll pick and then get the opposite.
That means...
Well, the opposite will be just as bad anyway.
Yeah,
there's nobody to get anyway, so...
Yeah. Yeah.
But if there's one that I'm going to read, Jim, it's going to be that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. That'll be the one I'll check out. I'm just hoping, but that's the thing. I'll love the art. I know that already. It's just the idea that it'll be a short leash because, again, it's just Ultimate Spider-Man. If Hickman writes it, it's boring. I don't care about just dropping it then. So he has to be the one to step it up. It has to be good and,
What's
take
the incentive to
advantage
read
of
the
things.
end of the Krakoan era and the end of the Avengers if they're just going to restart it? I'll just
I
jump
think
in
that,
when it restarts.
again, yeah. I think the idea that end of the Avengers, if you had been reading DC around the shutdown, you ended up having Chip Zdarsky do that Justice League Last Ride. I just think it's going to be a repeat of that. It's just going to be a bunch of nonsense that feels just like that one.
Last Ride was
That's what
fine.
they do. Yeah, it was okay.
It wasn't bad, so... I don't know, Kenneth. If there's one to get excited about, that one is it. But we shall see. It doesn't seem like anyone's excited about this Ultimate Universe reestablishment that's happened. I haven't heard anyone say I need to be reading that book. I read the first issue with Doc, and then I just kind of memory hold it because it was so goddamn expensive. And I didn't want to go back. Sigma Comics, HH and the crew. Shout out to Thinking Critical from Fan X Salt Lake. TC coverage is more fun than today's corporate comics. hit like and sign up for Unholy Night and Back Here Comes Calico, both on Kickstarter right now. Hope you guys are having fun in Salt Lake. I heard that's a really nice city, but it is at elevation. Not everyone realizes just how thin the air is up there. So hopefully you're not going too hard, because I don't want HH to wear himself out, you know?
He sent me a photo of like the crowds in line right now, like the VIPs. It's insane. It just the amount of people lined up to get in the building.
Wow.
Who's the VIPs? Are anybody cool?
I don't know.
Oh, it's people that paid for VIP, like early
Oh.
access. I got you.
We thought celebrities or something.
Yeah, I thought Ben Stiller was out there waiting to get in there and promote Zoolander 3 or something.
I thought you were talking about the champagne room.
That's the script club, Doc.
Hmm?
There's no champagne room at a Comic-Con. So
There could be. If
Not
you-
anymore.
Not in Salt Lake City.
Hey, they're Mormons. They know how to get down.
It's probably illegal to drink there. Jasper Plan 9. Shane Davis had an idea the other day for DC to print only facsimiles in sequence for a year straight. No new material. It sounds wild, but I think it would create excitement and a reset. What say you? Well, people have been talking about this for a while, and I don't see any negative to it. The most excited I was when I look at the DC solicitation for December was that they were reprinting Batman Year One facsimile editions each issue. I said, I want to buy that. I need to talk to Yul Carter. Hopefully he can get me some comics. That would be great.
Honestly, that's I'm pretty sure that we all had that idea like 5 years ago. It was just, look, reprint. Start at AF-15. Start at, Fantastic Four #1. And just literally start reprinting them on newsprint, facsimile editions. I mean, if you really want to add some new, like modern ads into them in the same place.
No, I want the old ads. That's the best part of it.
It'd be funny doing new ads, but in the old way, like kind of
Yes.
make them look like that. But
Yeah.
even that, like right now, they're redoing, the whole Walking Dead deal with the colorized version. It seems to be doing okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
They should reprint them all in black and white, Doc, and Tankabon style.
They already have those. They're called
Yeah.
the Marvel. What are they? Masterworks.
yeah.
Yes,
Essentials.
For the essential
Yes.
editions, and you can get
Those are
them for
hard to find.
they're dirt cheap though.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I don't
They look
think
like
that's out of the
coloring
realm of
book.
possibility. I think this is something that they definitely would have considered by now. And hey, the new Teen Titans #1, all 4 issues of Batman Year One are coming out in December, and I want them bad. I'd rather have them than most of the new things coming out. Kenneth Dallig says, if Uncanny Spider-Man, another Spidey variant, SMH, good grief. What's SMH?
Shaking my head.
Shaking my head, good grief. They are bringing in stuff from Days of Future Past and tying into Hawks and Pock, like Doc said.
Yeah, they're going with all the weird futury shit that might have been cool when you didn't realize, when most of the audience hadn't already dipped out because they realized how disconnected from anything about the X-Men that Hickman's version was. That would have been cool if you had his vision before everybody realized what the gag was on it and realized why it didn't work. I mean, look, even if they would have executed Hickman's vision exactly as he initially planned, it would be one of those books where we'd look back at it and we'd really like it at the time, but we'd look back on it the same way we look back at Morrison's X-Men. Oh, it broke everything. And we'd realize that after the fact, but it would be hindsight, and they'd be trying to fix it. But now it's too late. You missed that boat a long time ago.
Yeah, and we're just reprocessing or repurposing old stories. Kenneth wants to know, Xena Warrior Princess versus Red Sonja. This one is very simple, Drew. Warrior Princess Xena without her backup crew versus Red Sonja one-on-one. Red Sonja fucks her up.
Absolutely 6 ways from Sunday. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because if coming from someone who's written Red Sonja, yeah, Xena doesn't stand a chance without her backup.
No, not without her crew.
Nope.
What do you think, Carrie? You think we're stupid?
No, I agree with you on that. Red Sonja, definitely. I like her better than Xena anyhow.
Well, it's not even just like she's just got better skills, and her sword's better.
She does.
Yeah, Xena Warrior Princess without the magician and all that stuff backing her up, no chance in hell. She would get. She would be like Mr. McMahon fighting Stone Cold Steve Austin in the cage that one time. Remember that?
Mm.
I don't think he got a punch hit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Federico De La Casa. I think the best moment to rebirth the Marvel Universe is Hickman's Secret Wars. Franklin Richards checked the universe he was creating, this one, and then toss it away.
Okay. I'm literally, I've been an advocate for many, many years of literally doing a Bobby Ewing stepping out of the shower where we find out 2 months before the original Civil War that started down the path of breaking everything.
I like Civil War, Doc.
I like it as a story. It still broke everything ultimately. And he recognizes, because it can still exist, just doesn't exist in this reality. And he wakes up and realizes that he hallucinated a entire, different universe into existence. And then when he wakes up and his fever breaks, everything reverts back to where it should be. Some people remember, some people don't. Some people want to make that happen. Some people want to prevent that from happening. And then you can move forward. You reset to an old paradigm, while at the same time opening up billions of new story possibilities
and hiring all the old writers to continue on where they were.
Yeah.
All right, we've been wanting to get to this one. Carrie made the ultimate sacrifice this week. She read a Tom King #1 issue, Wonder Woman #1, Tom King, Daniel Zampion art. I've already talked about it, obviously, with my my podcast with Jim from Weird Science.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear what you think about this comic book, Carrie. How was it for you? Did you think it was amazeballs?
No, definitely not. I had a lot of issues with the narration was just pretty much word salad for most of it. You did introduce a slightly interesting character in the beginning and then went really nowhere with that, only to set up somebody at the end that you spent a whole comic book of just about making up some type of excuse to get rid of Amazons, and half of the time it was just kind of like, all right, so one chick kills a bunch of guys, so we're going to blame all the Amazons, and then we're going to introduce some old guy who's got some lasso of lies, and I'm like, I just did not feel like the build up to this character at all. And some of the dialogue in some places, like, I had to reread it to say, wait a minute, is editing like off when this was printed? Because I could not stand some of the dialogue at all. Like that opening sequence in the bar, like, do guys even talk like that anymore? I don't think they do. At least not the ones I interact with. It seemed very cliche and cheesy. Yeah, it was very cheesy and cliche. I was like, I am not enjoying this at all. It's like, where are we going with this? You're not even giving any development for this villain at the end for me to understand why he's a threat.
Trump. Because Trump. Orange man bad.
Exactly. And then there was like even the dialogue between Diane and Steve when they're outside in Washington, and suddenly she goes, oh, so you just mean right, huh? Like implying that like his friend happens to be on the right. And I'm just like, what? How does this even like make sense to the whole conversation that's taking place right now?
Yeah, no. I love that they decided to stick every bad thing on the one villain. Absolutely every bad thing in the world is something that villain does and is in support of.
Exactly. And there's nothing like, what is his part in what's going on with the Amazons? Like, he's just there putting a crown on his head and holding a lasso. I'm like, okay, what makes him the threat? What is this lasso of lies exactly? How is this influencing everything going on? I was like, he's just there.
Yeah. My biggest problem, I see Yule likes it, but my biggest problem is the story itself Makes no damn sense. Could never happen, especially with everybody else involved in the universe. And Tom King hand waves it away off panel, saying, "Oh,
Right.
they're not even mentioning the just saying her superpowered friends. They tried, but they couldn't do anything. They're not going to stop trying. But you have to. Again, I know that this is a Wonder Woman book, so you don't want to intermix teams and things like that into it. But you're setting up a story that is too big to not have that happen, and too big to just say, oh, like Superman and Batman, they're not going to bother with this because they tried. They ended up, complaining, but nobody would listen to them. And I think that what you get with him is the MacGuffin of this sovereign, this big villain, is that anything that's fucked up that ends up not making sense, anybody doing anything wrong or out of character, Tom King now has the out to say, oh, the lasso of lies is affecting him. That is just, in my mind, that big MacGuffin that he needs to have to make the story work.
But
And I found it boring as shit. It looked great, but yeah, it's all just, I'm going to tell you this. We have a narrator who's and again, we could even go with the idea that a guy who's the sovereign with the lasso of lies, he's not even going to be a narrator, a trustful narrator.
Well,
I mean, so what are we getting out of it?
It sounds like a reverse Flash situation. I guess one of the biggest concerns about Diana over the years have been, where is her rogues gallery and why aren't we using them to tell superhero stories? So it might be, you might be trying to craft
I'm telling you though, you have that. I get the idea this guy, the Sovereign, really plays off as just a slightly elevated Dr. Psycho. He's just making everybody hate people. You're having that women against men type of deal as well. And we've seen this a million times. It's just that Tom King is able to get great artists to go in with it. And he does write it a little more fancy than, say, the Clune Reds did, who just ended up, getting kicked off the book. Doesn't make it better, though. It doesn't make it, things. And people sit there, oh, it's thought-provoking. I'm thought-provoking. Most of this is just a redo of 9/11 and then the, hysteria of social media and things like that now with what's going on. It's not really thought-provoking to me. It's just a replay of all the shit that I try to avoid when I'm reading comics. I can't stand it. There you go.
And borrowing elements from Civil War, because now we have all Amazons need to be banished from the United States.
And it's Amazon's attack again. It's all a bunch of redo nonsense, and it's just I don't. It looks great, and it I'll give it one thing. It is still a more, I don't know, I can't say important, but it feels like at least it's something a little more than the shit we've gotten since Greg Rucka, because it's been a wreck. That's where I said the idea. When I said about people jumping on and doing a Batman story, this just shows that Tom King could come in and do his bullshit, but people are going to end up elevating it anyway, because the shit that happened the last 5 years has just been garbage. So they're going to look at this as more important, more exciting, and whatnot. I don't get it. Even if you come down and people would argue, hey, and I think you'll said it, he gets the Wonder Woman character, but she already feels like she's a side item in her own book. She feels like she's just there because it's a Wonder Woman book. Yeah, I think this is more about everything else but her. And it's just, again, this is where I said they make it seem like a Amazon killing 19 guys is 9/11. It isn't. But then the lasso of lies made it that way. It's just a easy out to make anything work.
How do you put the lasso of lies on the entire world?
Well, you don't. You just, what they're saying, what Tom King is saying is that the government itself can manipulate all of us assholes because we're just sheep and follow this and that, and we get caught up in that, while the politicians are the
misogynist,
ones.
It's like...
We'll just do whatever anybody says, and that's where he's going with, because he has to give his, whole deal. And the guy was an asshole in the CIA. He was part of that, and now he goes and kind of wants to make us think that we're, all puppets. Which
I can see Eric O'Sullivan is champing at the bit. I think he's ready to defend Tom King and Wonder Woman. It looks like he liked it.
Well, all I got to say about Tom King is that he must have a hell of an agent for him to be getting gigs like this, and having a mom that works for as
he's
an
in the writers' room for the DCU under James Gunn.
Good for him. Good for
his mom was an executive at Warner Brothers, so. Might not even need an agent.
I missed this one this week, but did her daughter Trinity show up in this issue?
No.
No, but the guy turns out to be the man.
Yeah.
She's going to be in backups. But the other thing that goes with it, you read through the narration and you have a villain that Tom King has set up as the Wonder Woman's version of the Joker. And in the narration, he actually says, I lost. She beat me. They already say it. And then in that tie-in, that deal with the Trinity story, that's who she was talking to, who was in prison. And that whole story, this might continue what he's like. This whole bit here might just be the tale that he was telling Trinity in that Wonder Woman 800 about how we got to this
Who's her
place and
dad?
what happened.
That's the big
and
mystery?
who's her dad and things like
And
that.
I didn't read that.
I
That
think
might be
it's
part of my
it's
problem.
him. We didn't know that Wonder Woman is into like Mr. Magoo looking guys who she wants to nail. That's who it is.
Elderly.
Yeah.
Oh, God. See, and I haven't read the other recent Wonder Woman stories, so maybe that's
Not
part
good.
of the problem. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
have
not
all
good. Not good.
Oh, with the evil milk? Yeah, you're missing out.
Yeah, the milk. That
Oh.
and Drew brings it up like Drew, that is the thing where if you go from the evil milk to this, then you could say like, okay, like this is a little smarter than that. It's not great, but it's smarter than evil milk.
I mean, but you're already below the barrel. It's
I
not
know.
that hard
Yeah, I mean, you're
to
scraping
come up.
hard.
Again, that's why I say somebody
Following up
you know,
Tom King on Batman.
Yeah.
You
It'll be
just had to
following up
not-
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine following up Teenie Howard on Catwoman. But that's the problem is you can go down the whole list of books that DC puts out, and almost all of them it is, hey, I could follow this up and be, the champ because I can just tell a competent story. That's bad.
DC's in a better place now. At least
It
Superman's
is. There's
pretty
some
nice.
big stuff. Yeah, and that's one I wouldn't end up, saying that about. Or like a Cy Spurrier is going to start out Flash this week, and he's going to have to impress some people because of how many people like the Jeremy Adams stuff. So there are some good.
I don't think
books, but
Cy
there's some
Spurrier
real
likes the relationship. From what
No,
I've seen.
no. Oh, I can guarantee and verify that he does not like that, and that's
Cy-
basically the thing.
Cy Spurrier is the anti Warren Ellis that thinks he's Warren Ellis. That is nowhere. That man is he's an idiot's idea of what a smart person is.
Yeah.
Or
We'll probably talk about it next week.
I said he could be in a room all by himself, and he's still only the second smartest guy there. I mean, he thinks that he's so fucking smart, but it's annoying because him and Mark Russell. I swear to God, that's all they do is
Yes.
try to convince people that they're smart, and they're not.
True.
Man, Drew just left. I guess your guys rang his bell enough.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, no, it was not good. It's like, no.
It's
like,
probably a good
how many
story. I just don't think
cliches-
it's a good Wonder Woman story. But Yule Carter things were full of crap.
Love you. The art was great, but that's about
The
it.
art was great.
for me.
I didn't like the pacing. I was bored. I hate that over narration, and then everything.
It's
in
all
it really-
tell a no show until
It is,
the
and
very
that's
end.
what got
That's
me.
my
It's the idea
problem.
of trying to make the story work. You can't really make it work, so you just say it like a random narration box. That didn't work. Oh, this is why this happened. Because there's no real way, even in a superhero comic book universe, that this shit would fly. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I did my video on it. It was a fun review. I actually had to cut out like 5 minutes of real criticism on that one because it was so goddamn long. Just to
I
get
ended
down
up
to
talking on our
8
podcast. It ended up being an hour and a half. So and
Exactly.
it was just
There's so
insane.
much
It
to
just
say
goes
about
and
it.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear what the people say because they've got opinions on this as well. Frame 3R Mike, Transmetropolitan prequel series for the win.
Ooh,
Transmetropolitan.
Transmetropolitan.
wait, they're doing a transmet. Is Warren Ellis writing it? Are they letting him?
Is he
come
allowed
back?
to?
Or is he
He
saying that
owns
they
it.
want them to? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, is there one coming? And is it?
It would make a really good HBO or Max show. It would, but
I mean, granted, we already sort of had that with the little 3-issue Heart Prestige format that came out, which is collected in like volume 0 of Transmetropolitan. So you kind of already had a little bit of like Spider's origin and like a prequel.
I
to
did
it.
a search. There is no prequel series.
Yeah, I
that's
just
being
looked.
announced,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
No, I can't see it.
maybe
either.
it's time we need one.
Yeah.
Caleb
Wa-
says it's another reason why everyone hates modern day Western women. Also, that looked like something Mark Wade would come up with. I don't think Wonder Woman is number one. Is why people hate modern women. That is absolute
No.
bullshit, Carrie. I like.
Yeah,
you.
there's
You're
so
not
many
a
other
role model,
reasons.
and you're a woman.
I can think of a million better
No.
reasons.
Oh my goodness gracious!
You can't
Every
you
day.
can't group us in with those TikTok people. Come on.
Yeah. I like that he says it's another reason too.
And another reason,
and another. You get a reason.
Because
you get
a guy
reason.
writing a woman is what depicts what Western women are all like.
Calvin says Tom King's Wonder Woman need to be compared and contrasted with Will Pfeiffer's Amazon Attacks events. I want to see if Tom King is so bad, Pfeiffer is better.
I don't think that's possible, but it seems like, again, we're talking about this. We end up with the Spider-Man reign and these sort of things, these stories that are looked at as some of the worst, and yet they end up grabbing it from that. Why grab something from Will Pfeiffer's Amazon's Attack to try, like, why is you're trying to redeem that type of story or whatnot? It's just, but it really plays into everything that Tom King writes. So it makes sense, but why? Why isn't this a Wonder Woman where everybody wants to celebrate the character? You have a new #1. It's been down. Just give me a reason why to like her, not the idea of everybody is horrible, because there's hardly a likable person in that whole damn issue. And that's what gets me. That's what always brings me down in Tom King's deal. He never writes any character that is necessarily, like, I'm not saying well written, but good or nice, or everybody's got, their issues. I have enough issues. I don't need that.
Caleb says, I would like to see the Amazons following Diana's example, get out of their comfort zone, meet men, fall in love with them, and do what's right. But then if that happens, Caleb, then Wonder Woman isn't special. She's not unique. She's like every other Amazon.
Here's the thing. We have Trinity, so I think that she's going to be doing that. So there you go. You'll get your wish. I think they should all go and I think they should all say the Amazon should have a press conference, say fuck all of you, and just go to Themyscira. And if they kill any more Amazons, you just destroy them because it's an act of war, right? You get Nubia off her ass and start declaring shit, because this is nonsense. Now, if Tom King would have played the idea that the Amazons were secret agents, undercover, sleepers type thing, then you'd have an idea of, oh my God, they're sus. It's just people have been living around, and because it's nonsense. Like, if some random Bostonian did something awful, I'm not going to hate or love Sully anymore. I love him right now. It's not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to round him up, right?
Thank you.
Yes. Nobody wants to round up Sully. He looks like...
look at him.
Yeah. Cryogenic Gamer says, sounds like this sort of storyline should have been a sort of event storyline given the scale and the impact it would have. Well, yeah, it's ripping off an event.
Yeah, it's written for the trade anyway, so it's already like...
You still need it to be better.
He probably could have set it up for like a year's with the stories and stuff. Because he does skip through like a ton of what would have been some of the more interesting things about it.
And some of the more interesting things that would tie it into the continuity, which he has problems with anyway. You can't say that just because Superman tried to do... He'd be there constantly. I mean, show it.
Did you see... Yule is going full blue heel on him.
He is the blue heel. I like shit talking Yule.
Once he said like Sarge Steel wasn't the best part of the comic book, I knew he was lying. My goodness. Kenneth says, here's what I want to know. How and why does Tom King still get work? He ruins characters and tells crap stories, and he gets great artists. How? Well, I just told you, he's in the writer's room with James Gunn. His mom was an executive for Warner Brothers. And I will admit this, up until the last 2 years, basically everything that he wrote for DC sold above average. It didn't matter what character he had, because there was something behind his name.
That was the big thing. Yeah, he would take a side character and actually sell as much as some of the lesser of the big so he would elevate the sales. It doesn't happen anymore because people are tired of his one trick pony shtick. He just has the same deal.
Also, he's DC's Jason Aaron.
Yeah,
absolutely. Cal says, it wouldn't surprise me if Tom King wrote the rumored killed baby scene in Aquaman 2 since he hates his kids and they give him cyanide cats for his birthday.
Oh, that's wicked old. That came from the mid-'70s. Yeah. Black Manta kills Aquaman.
No, but that's the reason people were apparently walking out of the test screenings.
The test screenings.
Is because Black Manta kills the baby. And Tom King does like to kill children in his comic books.
It's true.
Although he only alludes to it in this one. He doesn't actually kill a child. So that was, I guess, a step up. Gobbin says, I'm concerned about Cassie, Donna, and Donna's son with TK. It's
Tom King. Yeah.
Tom King. Josie Campbell's Amazon's Attack 2. Number 2 cover has angry men. It's too cliche and unimaginative. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of cliche, unimaginative stuff going on in there.
Just imagine at the end of this story, I guarantee what we're going to have is this whole idea of the lasso of lies, and then it'll be revealed that there wasn't really a lasso of lies, that this is just us and the people being awful all on their own, and that'll be this big eureka moment that we're all pieces of shit, is what I believe is what will happen.
It sounds on track.
Guarantee. And also, a child does not die in this first issue, but actually sees their mother die. So I think that counts as well.
And it gets taken off to Child Protective Services.
Yeah, and that gets taken away because it has to be ripped from the headlines. Rip you from the headlines.
Cal says, I mentioned Mark Waid because it seems like Tom King is trying to convince people that he's the good guy by making that villain based on Trump again. Yeah. I mean, at least he doesn't look like Trump, so I guess that was a step up.
Give him a gold tie in a couple issues.
He's going to pull his face off Scooby-Doo style.
Bring back Maxwell Lord again.
He's going to have the hairpiece and all that shit, and it's going to be orange. Oh, man, what happened there, Drew? You just jumped out of it.
It's just internet issues. I'm back. We're good.
Okay. I thought maybe that Doc finally got your ears ringing.
No, not yet.
Keta says, is Red Sonja superpowered because Xenia is an OG, not a girl boss, a real boss? She fights monsters, demons, and other gods. She beats Ares on the regular. So Red Sonja isn't particularly superpowered, but she's basically like the female Conan, and she defeats gods and demigods on the regular.
And Xena's got a team that helps her beat all these monsters, demons, and gods.
Yes.
Yes, and Xena was more or less a ripoff of Red Sonja.
Yeah.
Very much so. Well, there you go, Kenneth. Framer Mike. How's Framer been out of comics since 2009? What was the prequel, Doc? Gracias.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What was the sequel you were talking about? You said basically there was a sequel to Transmetropolitan.
Oh no, there wasn't a sequel. There was a prequel that was the oh God. I'm gonna have to pull out I'm gonna have to go grab it off my bookshelf, but it was like a 3-issue little prestige format. I think it's Back on the Streets. It's volume 0 of the trades of Transmetropolitan. But it came out like while Transmet was still running back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like when it was where was it? It was at Helix, and then it ended up at Vertigo. I feel like he had one other publisher throughout its lifespan as well. I'll have to check. I'll tell you in a few minutes.
Right. I thought they wanted to know what the prequel to Doc was. That's what I thought.
No the prequel to me was There Is None.
Andy Rooney, maybe.
Archie Bunker. To know, fight of the 2 best anti-heroes of all time, Red Hood versus Punisher. So this is interesting because Red Hood has never defeated Batman, correct?
Yeah. Don't think so.
I think Punisher.
Only
I love Red Hood.
Punisher has beaten Spider-Man, correct?
Yeah, so I think Punisher destroys him. I love Red Hood, but I think Punisher just completely destroys him.
What do you think, Doc? Oh, no, he backed out, didn't he? He probably was looking on his shelf or whatever. All right, Drew, jump in here. Who wins, Red Hood or Punisher?
I'm going to take the Punisher on this. I just don't think Red Hood stands a chance. Well, then again, if it's the Boomhauer Punisher coming out,
hand-to-hand fighter.
Yeah, I was going to say Red Hood was trained by the League of Assassins in the New 52 continuity, correct?
But now since the Punisher can now fly and is like the fist of the hand or whatever he is
can
now,
do whatever.
Yeah.
I was about to say which version of the Punisher.
Yeah,
the current.
he's good at the fisting.
All right, Doc. Go Andy Rooney on us. Who wins this one, Red Hood, Punisher?
I'm gonna go with the Punisher, mostly because Red Hood, he's a better fighter probably, but he basically just uses, 2 guns. Punisher will use fucking claymores.
Yeah, that's what I think.
He will set your shit up and light your
Don't forget
ass
about
off.
the crowbar. Doc.
Well, that'll
Don't
be the
use
deal. He'll
crowbar.
he'll bring a crowbar to a bazooka fight. He's done.
And basically just traumatize Jason. He'll be like, he'll just crawl up in a little ball in the corner and start being a weepy bitch. No,
Rule says Punisher can't beat Spidey, but Punisher did beat Spidey.
Punisher's beaten Spidey on a number of occasions. There was also
and Red Hood's never got the better of Batman.
And I mean, hell, Punisher ran Wolverine over with a steamroller.
Well, that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
He should have thrown him into a vat of like volcanic molten lava or whatever, like they did to Terminator. They really would have got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's the question, Doc. Could Wolverine survive that? Could he survive the Terminator 2 death? It should delete him at an atomic level, correct?
Actually, it would kill him. And the reason why it would kill him would because even if you go with the absurd notion that's been in there since Civil War when he got nuked by Nitro, and even one drop of his blood he can regenerate from, like one cell still left alive on his skeleton.
Yeah,
if you leave him in there,
DNA.
if you leave him in there long enough, it will burn away all of it to ash, kill all the DNA, and he will be dead. Because even whenever they dumped the adamantium on him, and he basically just became a statue, he wasn't dead inside there.
He was just trapped.
He was just stuck.
And when they threw him into the sun, he couldn't regenerate.
Yes. Well, there's two times he's been thrown into the sun. One was in Hawks and Pox when he had to get resurrected, but the other one, it was back when him and Jean ended up on a space station going into the sun, and Wolverine killed Jean so that she would be reborn as the Phoenix, so that when he got nuked in the sun, she could rebuild him on an atomic level.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it. So that's the only way he wouldn't have survived that one either.
I have a question. Has anyone just tried pushing Logan off of a cruise ship? He would drop like a rock. He's wicked heavy.
He would be stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Absolutely.
Well, remember whenever they did that whole arc in X-Force about how he was a surfer with an adamantium surfboard? Yeah, that was fucking retarded too. Thanks, Ben Percy. This is why I say you suck now.
I gotta say though, Wolverine versus Punisher #1 was like out of all the bad Predator, out of all the bad Ben Percy I've read, that's gonna be the best Ben Percy I've ever read. It was like
Doc and I are reviewing that on Monday. We haven't looked at it yet.
By the way, that book that I was talking about was Transmetropolitan Tales of Human Waste. There is some prequel-ish stuff to it, but it wasn't as prequel-y as I remember it being. So, because I'm flipping through it right now.
Callum says Trinity's gay because she's a modern female lead. What do you think about that, Carrie? Is that true or false?
I would not doubt it. Either gay, bi. We'll see.
It's got to be somewhere on the spectrum, right?
Somewhere.
It's got to be. Modern hero. Definitely going to happen. Not exactly out on a limb there, Callum. So we've covered all the stuff that we really needed to cover. There was some movie stuff, but we even got into the Aquaman 2 a bit. Let's get into our comic book recommendations and wrap this bad boy up because I still need to record with Drew, and it sounds like he's not having a good go of it with his ears. We'll start out with you, Drew. You are not going to give comic book recommendations, but we are going to talk about our recommendations here in a few hours on the channel.
Yes, very true. But I will recommend everyone go to Kickstarter right now to sign up for Unholy Nightmare #1.
As well as Here Comes Calico #7.
Exactly, yeah. Two great storytellers, who are going to be telling some great kick-ass stories here in the next year or so.
Very, very good. And like I said, we will talk a little bit later. We are at Carrie. Are you recommending Wonder Woman #1? You read the comic book? You were involved?
No. I'm now going to have to go read a whole box full of manga just to get that out of my head. I'm not recommending.
Gotta wipe the taste out of your mouth.
Yeah, God. Yeah, that was not good. I am recommending manga though. And I'm going to start with Dan to Dan Dan. If you haven't read this, it focuses on two teenagers. One is a girl who's popular, who does not believe in aliens, and the other is a guy who's like the outcast at school who does not believe in spirits. And the two of them end up in a situation where they have to battle both aliens and evil spirits.
Sounds like Can't Buy Me Love with aliens.
Yep.
It's hilarious. I do recommend it. There's even a funny incident where the boy gets possessed by one of the spirits known as Turbo Granny, and she steals his testicles, and they have to go on an adventure to get them back. So
good stuff.
That seems very not cool. I wouldn't want to lose my testicles.
Exactly, and then he's desperate to get them back. The other one is, this has been around for a while, but it finally got up to volume 3. It's Vagabond. And it focuses on, it's a fictional take on a real life samurai known as Miyamoto. And he's destined to become the greatest swordsman in Japan. So he travels across Japan and goes up these different obstacles, comes across different sword fighters. It's really good. It's still
like
ongoing.
It's really long.
It is, and it's still ongoing. This is only volume 3. I think there's like 10 or 11 volumes out right now. Because it's covering his whole history from like when he was a young man going all the way up until when he finally achieves his goal. But it's violent.
A famous philosopher.
Yes. But I do recommend that one.
Well, very nice. Well, give our best wishes to Mom, and we hope that everything
Thank
is
you.
going very well. We've missed you.
Appreciate it. I missed you guys too.
These guys probably think we forgot about you, but we've talked behind the scenes, and you just haven't been able to make it until this week.
A lot of stuff going on with my personal life, but I'm glad to be back.
Well, we're glad to have you, and hopefully we'll have you back here real soon. We have a question for you, of Rev Sully. We got a question for you.
Oh,
why is that guy dressed like a pimp from the 70s?
Because I am.
He's not liking your costume. He's not digging your cosplay.
$50, she make you holla. Come on.
50.
50, yeah.
He's Tyler Durden from Fight Club, and you have a wonderful avatar, Nuke. I didn't notice that until now.
Wicked Pissa.
Yeah, we got sniffing. My goodness. Are you recommending comic books, Durden?
I got a brown bag full of comic books. Actually, I only got 4 this week. But I got Ronin, Book 2, Issue 4 by Frank Miller. He actually does all the breakdowns and has an inker on this. So it's not the Philip Tan artwork. Again, the story is so confounding, but I don't care. It's beautiful.
Is it confounding in a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, kind of good way, yeah. But this is a comic book. This is great stuff. I got Junior Baker, The Righteous Faker on Image Comics by Joe Carey. This is wonderful. Joe Casey, thank you. This is wonderful. It reminds me of those late 80s, early 90s pre-Vertigo DC books with the art and raw pencils. It's really good art. I had a great time with it. We got Big Game number 3 by Mark Miller and Pepe Larraz. This is really good. And because this is a classic story told. This is Act 2 in a 3-act story and story beats. So this is the nadir where everything is the lowest point for our heroes, and we can only root for our heroes going forward. And I got Superman number 6 by Joshua Williamson. This was so good. I got this for the Gleb Melnikov art. Melnikov, thank you. And I was like, this guy is so impressive, and I'm so happy to have caught on to this. I gave it a break for a few issues, but I really enjoyed this one. This was great.
Well, that's good. DC gave you 2 months to not buy Superman. Get you back on the train.
Exactly. And thank you for having me on. And I'm so happy to be with you guys on a Saturday morning. Cheers.
Very nice. Keta says, with Red Hood versus Punisher, it's offense against defense. Jason is the better fighter, but Punisher, classic nerdy girl, has a very high pain tolerance. He does surgery on himself without anesthesia. Punisher outlasts him, and he wins in the end. That's kind of the way I see it as well. I think you're right on there, Kenneth Dowling. Way to redeem yourself after your terrible take on Scorpion versus Deathstroke.
Yeah.
My goodness. I don't know what Kenneth... I think he was just trying to be provocative, Jim.
By the way, I got to say real quick, though, I did like Amazing Spider-Man 34. as an opposite to Drew. I mean, I love the art. I love the black costume, and it's cheesy in all the right places. So, I mean,
if you
I
like
dug
the
it.
black costume,
I love the black costume.
there are 3 miniseries. There's actually, I think there's 4 miniseries from Peter David, where he goes back and tells prequels, tells stories in the time when he's in the black costume. One of those is a tie-in to King in Black, which you don't need to read, but the other 3 are absolutely brilliant if you like that.
Symbiote Spider-Man.
Symbiote Spider-Man, yes.
I'll look that
Fantastic stuff. You definitely need to check that out if you like that version of Spider-Man. Tommy reviews. Creator of Vagabond stopped the series but made a final chapter with a time skip to finish it off. Also picked up Batman and Adventures Omnibus, and I'm loving it.
See, and I thought he only stopped Vagabond to finish up on Slam Dunk. But that's interesting. No, he did do a final chapter.
Finish it off. Batman Adventures. That's the one based off the animation, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's where Harley Quinn makes her first appearance.
The real Harley Quinn.
Yes, Batman Adventures number 12.
Very nice. Kenneth Dowling also says he's recommending Big Game number 3. Obviously, Wolverine versus Predator. We're hearing good things here, Doc. Maybe I didn't give you a stinker this week. Green Lantern War Journal, and despite my critique, I still recommend Uncanny Spider-Man number 1. It was fun. Doc, didn't Wolverine regenerate from his skeleton in a book?
That's where I'm talking about. That was during Civil War when he got nuked by Nitro, and he was just a skeleton and regenerated from that. And everybody was like, wait, what? I mean, it was a cool visual, but then they had to come up with some retcon nonsense about him being able to regenerate from even a single drop of blood.
Yeah, like in the annual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad, and because they had to basically break Wolverine to fix art, make the art by Humberto Ramos make sense.
And I will say this, while I don't recommend Uncanny Spider-Man like Kenneth Dowling, of all the Marvel stuff that came out, it ain't that bad. It's just not that good either. The art's kind of nice. But you'll never figure out why he's actually Spider-Man, though. I don't think there's a real reason. But Green Lantern War Journal was also a nice little surprise. That was a good one. Man. Doc, we are on you. You and I are going to be we're not going to be recommending. We don't know that yet. We're going to be reviewing Predator versus Wolverine number 1 on Monday.
Yep.
Do you have any other comic books that you are going to recommend before that?
Yes, and none of them. Well, actually, a couple of them came out this century, but not a lot of them. So we got this cool. This was really good. You could probably find this in a dollar bin somewhere. It was right before the Cliffhanger label launched. It previewed Danger Girl, I think Crimson, Danger Girl, Crimson, and Battle Chasers, the 3 launch books for the creator-owned imprint in Wildstorm at the time, Cliffhanger. So this is fun. It's like a little sketchbook. If you can go find it, pick it up. The next, since we talked about it earlier, Transmetropolitan, Tales of Human Waste. Honestly, I recommend all of Transmetropolitan. This is pretty good. It's a lot of little, kind of art pages with little bits of little snippets from Spider's supposed articles, since he's a journalist. So it's pretty cool. Then we've got Uncanny X-Men Annual. I think this is 14. This is actually the first appearance of Gambit, because
the first.
The
first real appearance of Gambit. Yeah.
Yep. It predates Uncanny X-Men 266 by 1 week. It actually was released a week before,
Right.
But chronologically, in continuity, it takes place after 266. Actually, I think after about issue 267, maybe. Actually, no. I guess it would probably be actually after Extinction Agenda, because that was the first time right before Storm gets back. So, then another cool little thing, the spiral bound books. I love these every once in a while, but this was something that I picked up way back in the day. It's the X-Men Survival Guide to the Mansion. It's got a bunch of diagrams of the mansion. This is the kind of shit that Jonathan Hickman tried to do, but failed miserably at. So, fuck him. And we're going to have 2 X-Men variants, both the color and the sketch variant, the Michael Turner of X-Men 500. 2 books that I did spend way too fucking much on back in the day. I think this was a 1 in 250, 1 in 500, or maybe 1 in 125, 1 in 500, or 1 in 250. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, yep. The X-Men.
Are you going to send that slab comic book and do the right thing to Yule Carter and let him break it for you and release that beautiful comic book back into its real environment? You basically have it caged up in a zoo like that.
I do.
Just to be gawked at and laughed at, not to be actually going to be in its friendly environment and be used.
There was like 10 covers for this fucking comic. If I really want to read it, I can grab one of the other ones because I have all of the other covers too.
So you're not going to do the right thing.
No.
You're going to continue to be selfish.
I am going to
mistreat that beautiful comic book.
I am absolutely going to be selfish. I am going to keep it in
Doc's the guy that throws a slushy at the polar bear at the zoo.
Yep. Hey, he needs something to drink. He's kind of hot. That'll cool him down. And plus, the slushies logo is the polar bear, so he likes slushies.
All right, Doc, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
People could see your man cave behind you, and yes, it is his own personal altar to comic books. How much does a nerd like you pay for a man cave like that? How much have you actually invested into the room?
Into the room itself, actually, most of the filing cabinets I got for free. So really, just paint. So
I
don't know.
With
maybe
the comic books themselves.
Oh, with the comic books. Oh, fuck. We're well into 6 digits at this point.
That's a $25,000 room.
Yeah, probably, if not more. It is. I have spent way too much money on this fucking room. I mean, I got about 15,000 comic books in here. Yes, the floor actually can support that weight. I've had that argument with people before. It is a load-bearing wall, so it is fine.
You know what's weird? The blue heel is healing on everybody for having pretty well-found criticism of that Wonder Woman book, but now all of a sudden he's not healing on you for slabbing comic books. It's just not me. It's slab away. Yes. Like, pick a stance, man. It's just like he's so wishy-washy nowadays.
That's why it's the blue heel.
He's unpredictable.
That's because I sometimes buy comic books from him for probably
like the Blue Raja from fucking Mystery Bed. He's terribly mysterious. You just don't know where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably do another video at some point and stick it up on my virtually non-existent channel that has a new, more updated tour, but I need to clean this fucking room. It's a mess right now.
All right. Well, Kenneth Dowling is going to send us out here. He says, Nerdy Girl, my best wishes to you and your family. Punisher outsmarts Spider-Man. He can't beat him. Have a great weekend, everyone. Drew, thanks on the Red Sonja backup story. Still like Xena more. Peace. Goodness, he's definitely wanted the last word on this week. So I'll give it to him. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, Kenneth. And we'll definitely have you on again. And we'll be back next weekend to talk more epic nerd goodness. We'll have Flash #1 and probably some other stuff to do.
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. Let me end this. I hit